Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to Stone Stadium on this sunny Columbia afternoon on a Sunday afternoon action between two teams, one from the Sun Belt and one from the A-Sun. We have the University of North Florida Ospreys versus the University of South Carolina Gamecocks, both in their second games of the season of this young 2024 campaign. And Spencer, I think I speak for all of us when I say I'm very excited for this matchup.
I think you do. I mean, I'd hope all the fans out there are excited as we are, at least, because tell you what, this South Carolina team looked fantastic their first go around. They defeated Winthrop right here at Stone Stadium 7-1, and frankly looked dominant in all areas of the game. I'm sure they're looking to continue that here against North Florida. Not to overlook this game, but they do have a big matchup at the end of next week.
Absolutely, and our good friend Cade Crenshaw let us know that the Gamecocks didn't reach 7 goals scored until their 8th game of the season a year ago. So it was a very, very strong start for South Carolina, especially offensively. But yeah, like you said, hey, the end of this week, you have #1 Clemson coming to town, but you can't afford to overlook a team that's relatively new to Division I. They joined in 2005. They're just starting their men's soccer program in 1991, and they've been relatively successful in the Atlantic Sun, making the tournament in 2012. One meeting all time between the Gamecocks and the Ospreys back in 2017, which the Gamecocks won 1-0. But Spencer, we're about to get underway here. The national anthem's about to play, and it looks like a pretty good crowd after what was the second most attended game in men's soccer history in South Carolina on Thursday night.
It looks like a really good crowd, and especially with how hot it is outside, you got to show some love, show some respect to the Gamecock fans, because I tell you what, no matter what sport, they show up tried and true no matter the weather, and here they are. It's looking to be another good one. National anthem's about to take place, so we'll step away for a moment and be right back for kickoff.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem has concluded, and we're here to bring you starting lineups and a little bit more pregame talk. Starting for the Gamecocks in net, Philippe Vistier, 2 defenders, Andrew Goldsworthy and Junior St. Just. Your midfielders, Mika Habel, Ethan Ballack, Sebastian Revenlow, Jonah Begar, and Camden Kowalski, as well as Alejandro Velasquez-Lopez. Then your 2 forwards, Harrison Myring and Gabe Nickerson. Spencer, the player of the game last time out was definitely Ethan Ballack, but Alejandro Velasquez-Lopez played really well as well. What about North Florida?
Yeah, let's go through the Ospreys lineup real quick. Starting in net, it's Luciano Natoli. In defense, Alex Barnett, Nick Kashenko, Pedro Armancio, Rafa Rios, Brian McManus Jr., and Ethan Ash. In the midfield, it's going to be Rentaro Miyakawa and Anton Khalil. And up front, it's Joaquin Acuna, Luke Graniter. And that's going to do it, just got their lineup. So running through them real quick, but that is their lineup, And we talked a little bit about the Gamecocks last time out, but for North Florida, they suffered a defeat at the hands of the first of 2 Power 4 opponents they'll play this season in Virginia Tech. They lost that one 4-0. So, didn't have a great showing in their first time out, but also, there's a huge, I would say, gap in competition level there.
Yeah, absolutely. Virginia Tech, that's where Ethan Ballack came to South Carolina from. But, lots of transfers on this UNF squad, most notably their goalkeeper, played for Central Florida last year, a Sun Belt opponent of the Gamecocks, so someone they're very familiar with.
But also, just to cut you off not to cut you off, but to add something, the first-year head coach for the Ospreys, Jamie Davies, associate head coach at UCF. So he's familiar with this Gamecock squad, and his goalie also followed him here. So just to touch on that, hey, I'll let you take it away.
That's exactly where I was going with that. Last season was the last in a long run for the previous North Florida head coach, but they went just a paltry 3-8-4, including going winless in conference play. They had 4 straight winning seasons from 2013 to 2016, but they just haven't been able to recapture it since. They're looking to come in here with a much retooled roster, a lot like South Carolina, a lot of new guys, but as well as a lot of foreign talent on this North Florida team. So, we're about to get underway. The Gamecocks are going to be going from right to left, North Florida going from left to right. The two teams meeting at midfield, doing little fist bumps, and we're about to get underway here as the hype video is playing. And, like we had mentioned it, the attendance on Thursday was outstanding. Good crowd here today. It is a hot one here in Columbia. There will be hydration breaks, not just for the players, but for us too up here. We are about to get underway. The referees meeting right at the center of the center circle as number 6 for South Carolina, Mika Habel. The two captains, coin toss, flipped. Gamecocks seem to have won. And everybody else for South Carolina meeting there.
Yeah, the coin toss, in soccer doesn't do a whole lot. It's pretty much just you want to start with the ball or defer to the second half, but it means nowhere near as much as it does in American football. So, well,
especially in overtime.
That's
which they don't have here. We have ties.
Big time. Which, yeah, unless, of course, there's bigger stakes than a regular season game, then you go into extra time periods and eventually penalty shootouts. So, I'll tell you what, soccer, it gets very tense when it gets down to those final moments. But as you mentioned, none of that extra time stuff here today. It's going to be everything that'll happens in 90 minutes.
Absolutely. As Sandstorm is playing, the Gamecocks out of their huddle in their own defending third as they take their positions. The crowd is, excited, but of course everybody's looking forward to next week. But you can't afford to look over an opponent like North Florida with a lot of talent. So we're about to get underway here.
We sure are, and I'm just jotting down our formation here, just so we can give you a little bit more accurate information. But I tell you what, it's the same lineup as last time around. And I think, you win a game 7-1, you probably start with the same exact lineup. I think it makes a lot of sense, JP.
Yeah, and it's all about the consistency. And for North Florida, they had one form of consistency last year, and it was losing close games. 7 of their 8 losses last year came by 1 goal. They were a very hard-fought ball club, very good defensively, allowing just a little over 1 goal per game. So they're going to look to muck it up, keep it a low-scoring, low-event affair, and hope that they can just kind of, find the back of the net by a random chance and shut down South Carolina otherwise. But North Florida's going to start here, and we are underway from Columbia as North Florida's going to pass it back and forth in their own zone. And for South Carolina, they're in the white kits with garnet numbers, and North Florida has a little bit of a blue action with gold or gray shoulder stripes, Spencer. An interesting choice.
Well, I tell you what, it looks like I showed up in North Florida gear with my Navy polo on. I didn't mean to do that, but...
Yep. We're arresting you.
Yep.
As North Florida's just feeling out the early stages of the game, passing it in their zone. They try to get something, but it's a turnover in their zone. South Carolina comes away with it, and there is going to be a trip and a foul called on North Florida. So the Gamecocks here with now an early opportunity in the attacking third.
And it was a great piece of dribbling there from Harrison Meyering. Not only did he, intercept the errant pass from the Ospreys, took it, made a nice move, and forced the defender into a foul. And just so you know, the Gamecocks are going to be running sort of a 3-4-3 formation. So 3 defenders, 4 kind of roaming midfielders, 3 up front. We can get into that a little bit more with, who's playing where in a little bit. But tell you what, one thing remains the same. This team looks relentless in their pursuit of the ball.
Absolutely, and we saw it there. They hounded Winthrop as Velasquez Lopez has the free kick. It's going to be headed, and it's going to go out behind the goal line. And it looks to be staying with North Florida. So that'll be a quick change of possession there. They'll have it, like I said, they're going left to right. Gamecocks going right to left. So North Florida's got their goal behind the bushes over by the cool little Carolina Soccer Shield banner over on that left wall next to the retired numbers.
That's right, the badge of honor over there. It's pretty awesome.
All right, as North Florida's going to try and get set up, but look at South Carolina, man. They are just relentless, like you said. Pressuring the ball, playing very tight defense, trying to cut off passing lanes. The goalkeeper for North Florida is going to play it out. They're moving up the right field. plays it back to the goalkeeper, but that is with two Gamecocks kind of starting to shadow him. As you can see, South Carolina is playing very up defensively. North Florida is just trying to, get under control. They're going to try a long pass here, but it's not really going to connect. It's going to go out behind the goal line, and it'll be South Carolina possession. So a good play there by South Carolina defensively. I believe that was
Kowalski out there on that right center back kind of type position. But I tell you what, JP, North Florida taking a similar approach as Winthrop, as we saw earlier in the game, just trying to get in behind with those long arching passes.
Yeah, and Kowalski looked like a safety there on a streak up the seam. But now the Gamecocks trying to play it up. They get it about to midfield, but North Florida's going to come away with it. They're going to almost escape, but they're going to bring it back into their own zone. Back to the goalkeeper now for North Florida. He's going to play it on over to number 5, Nick Kishinko. And he'll get it up to midfield. And North Florida's going to bring it into the South Carolina attack, defending third, but they'll turn it over, and South Carolina has it now. Turnover in the middle. So lots of back and forth play, and it's going to be a foul called on South Carolina. I believe that was Rivenlow.
Sure was. Almost got all ball there, but when you get a little bit of the leg, it's pretty often a foul call. So I think a good call, and North Florida will regain possession kind of in the midfield here.
Yeah, they quickly played it back in. Now they're just, like you said, it looks a lot like what Winthrop tried to do. They're just, low event, passing it back and forth, and then they're just going to try and hit on something deep. But now they are playing it, and they have it into the South Carolina side of the field, but they'll just, play it on back. It's a little bit hard to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of action, but again, we're only 5 minutes in, so it makes sense why there's nothing too crazy.
No, but South Carolina almost came away with a crucial turnover there deep in North Florida's own zone. That would have been a back-breaking mistake. And you can just see it's the pressure, it's the athleticism, and the talent on display for South Carolina defensively. It allows them to be able to play this aggressively up on their opponent. But now North Florida's going to try and carry it in, but he's being hounded by Ethan Ballack, who really made a name for himself against Winthrop. But now North Florida with their first real attacking chance, but a great defensive play to break up that pass. And it's going to be played back up to midfield. North Florida retains possession, though.
And that was Kowalski again, a great header there to kind of stop that attack as North Florida was building some momentum.
Yeah, I mean, they really got out in a hurry. So that's something to keep an eye on. As they're going to try and play it over into the South Carolina zone, they'll retain possession. They got it on very far on the left wing. They're bringing it up. It's going to be a kick all the way across the field. Number 27 for North Florida's got it, but he can't corral it. He can't actually keep it in play, but it'll go right to South Carolina. And they're going to play it up back towards midfield. North Florida retains possession, however. And that's number 5, Nick Kishinko. So he's really kind of controlling, I think, possession for North Florida. He's really kind of their play setter, the quarterback type.
Yeah, especially doing that, from the defensive position. He's done a good job, but what a takeaway there from Harrison Myring.
Yeah, Myring with a great play, and now South Carolina is out and running. Myring is continuing to push it up the right flank all the way down towards the box. But he's going to, cut it back towards the corner, just play it out of bounds, and it'll retain with South Carolina. Here's about, 6.5 or 5.5 minutes have passed in this first half, and it's been a lot of running. But, Spencer, I kind of like what I've seen from South Carolina's defense so far.
I do too, and we saw it pay dividends against Winthrop, especially after the first 10 or so minutes, where Winthrop, they would pass it around their own back end, but when they started to make mistakes, that's when problems would arise. And I think South Carolina's looking to force North Florida into the same, but you got to credit the Ospreys. They've done a good job so far themselves.
Absolutely, as that one was thrown in, and it was almost a high-danger chance, but Luciano Natoli for North Florida was able to snuff it out, and now he has the ball in his box. He's going to play it out to Kostrinko. Gets it over to the midfield. And North Florida just, getting back into what they're trying to do. They're just, slowly kind of bringing it up, and then they play it into the attacking third. But they'll be called for the offsides. So that'll bring it back. Which, hey.
I think you're okay with that call. You know what I mean? You're looking to, if it's that one looked like a close one. It looked like Acuna was just trying to get in behind. And I think you take that chance every time if you're the Ospreys.
And South Carolina almost just had a great chance. Alejandro Velasquez-Lopez with a nice through pass there. But I think that was Goldsworthy. Just couldn't quite come up with it for South Carolina. It's either him or Mika Habel. But that one's going to be played into the South Carolina zone. And Philippe Vestier is going to just kick it on out up to Junior St. Just. He'll play it through. But a turnover, and North Florida has it. He's going to play it over to number 8. He's got it, and it's kicked away beautifully. I believe that was once again Goldsworthy. So he's making a flurry of plays out here for South Carolina.
Yeah, Mika Habel, I think, was the one that turned that ball over, but him and Goldsworthy teamed up and were able to clear it. And good play by Gabe Nickerson as well to keep the ball in play there on the near touchline.
Absolutely, and then they're going to play it all the way into the North Florida zone. Junior St. Just chasing after it, and he'll be able to keep it in. A great play there by Just. And now South Carolina has it in the attacking third. What we saw for South Carolina against Winthrop was a lot of possession time in the attacking third, and that one's going to be kind of kicked on goal, but it was harmlessly caught by Natoli for North Florida, so they will come away with it. That was South Carolina's real first, I think, good chance of the game, but just, nothing doing there.
Yeah, I think it was, that was Ballack there on the shot right in front of goal, but I think it was a nice play by the Osprey defender. That one looked like it took a deflection as it was just kind of chipped up in the air. But again, Natoli, you got to make the routine plays. You can't let in any free ones against a team like South Carolina. They showed us last week, or earlier in the week, I guess, that they'll make you pay. Absolutely.
Now North Florida, they're going to play it into South Carolina's half of the field, and the Gamecocks will try to win it back, but we got a mass of bodies over there on the right wing for the North Florida attacking third. They got it back, though. They'll play it back. Kick it all the way over to Natoli, who's going to survey his options. North Florida has it. It's over to who else but Nick Kischenko. North Florida's going to play it up to number 27, Ethan Ash. Ash gets it back over to Kischenko. And North Florida just really playing keep away right now as they pass it, the length of the field. I guess it's the width.
Yeah, I think you're right. But again, I think they'll be happy. They haven't, given South Carolina too many chances, and they've been really pretty secure with the ball, and that's what you have to be against a team who's really trying to take it away with you like South Carolina.
Yeah, you just don't want to play into their hand, and, you're really kind of seeing why North Florida was able to play in a lot of those low-scoring games with their style of play offensively. They're not going to press and take a bad chance, as that was an attempt at a through pass. And a great play by number 13, Jonah Bigar for South Carolina. North Florida almost had a great chance there off of a very sudden pass, but Bigar with a great slide tackle knocked the ball loose and tripped up. I believe that was number 11, Luke Graniter for North Florida coming in.
Yeah, and Graniter, he would have been through on goal, so it would have been him versus Philippe Vistier in a one-on-one scenario. And, you never want to leave your goalie in a one-on-one scenario. If you can't, Bigar's slide tackle really saved him there.
Absolutely. And now South Carolina with it. They've really only had one kind of extended stay in the attacking third here in the first 10 minutes of this ball game. But now that's Alejandro Velasquez.
He's the right guy.
Radio broadcasts of soccer are very difficult, ladies and gentlemen. But here at the Gamecocks now bring it over the midfield stripe. And they're playing it back. They're really starting to emulate a little bit of North Florida. They're not going to press. They're not going to make a stupid mistake and turn possession right back over to the team. It's like playing a service academy in football. You never know how many opportunities you're going to get with the ball. So you got to treasure it. Or it's a lot like what we saw with Georgia Tech yesterday.
Tell you what, a lot of fun watching that one.
Absolutely. But, the Gamecocks still with possession. But that one was a crucial mistake. An attempt at a pass the width of the field. But, South Carolina just couldn't come up with it. I think that was Jonah Bigar. And now possession for North Florida. They're going to play it in quickly. Kischenko over. And North Florida passing it around. They're really kind of set up in like I would call this, I don't know. I'm not the one with the soccer formations, but he'll get it over to Ethan Ash, who's going to keep it in play with a great play. And then he's going to receive it back off the header from South Carolina, and then he gets it over to Luke Graniter. Graniter has it, right wing. He's going to get it back to number 22, Anton Kelly, and they'll play it all the way back towards kind of the midfield stripe, but they're still in the South Carolina half of the field. And then a huge pass all the way down, but out of bounds, and that'll go back to South Carolina. He was trying to stretch it to Luke Graniter there, kind of on the right wing, down near the box.
Mustard.
Yeah, just put a little bit too much on it. Graniter couldn't quite track it down. And so throwing in for South Carolina is Jonah Bigar. And they're going to get it in. And that was Koshchenko who's trying to get wrestle possession away, but South Carolina will retain. They're going to play it in quickly. A quick throw in all the way down the left field, and a little bit of a shoving match between South Carolina and North Florida, but it'll stay South Carolina ball all the way down kind of near where the corner kicks would be for South Carolina in the attacking third.
Yeah, really smart from Myring there. I think he might have got away with a little push there, but smartly kind of pushed the defender into the ball as he was going out of bounds. Wins the Gamecocks a throw in a very dangerous position.
And it was a great throw by Gabe Nickerson to get him all the way down there so he could commit a little bit of pass interference, if you will. That's going to be thrown in. South Carolina's going to have an opportunity. Got it out in front barely, but it just drifted away from a diving Gamecock, and North Florida's going to come away with it, play it all the way up the field. Junior St. Just back with it. He'll wrestle it away, and he'll get it back to Philippe Vestier, and South Carolina back with it. Vestier plays it to Andrew Goldsworthy, and the Gamecocks are just going to try and slow things down. You can see Goldsworthy's kind of like this. He's, hey, let's just calm down, get some nice passes, see what happens.
We're through about 13 minutes here, and while I don't think the Gamecocks are playing bad by any stretch of the word, I think you got to credit North Florida with how they're playing, especially since they let in 4 goals last week against Virginia Tech. This first, not quite 15 minutes yet, but it's really gone quite well for them.
Absolutely, and you saw it at the beginning of the game that South Carolina was going to try and force North Florida to play South Carolina's brand of soccer, and North Florida has really kind of wrestled control of the way the game's been played. But the Gamecocks with a great play down there, Junior St. Just getting to the ball, and it's going to be Gamecock possession for a corner kick, and that's going to be Alejandro Velasquez-Lopez, who had a great game against Winthrop.
He sure did. Scored the second goal of the game with his left foot outside the box from about 20 yards. Just a curling shot over the head of their keeper. It was a thing of beauty.
And Lopez is out there in the corner. He comes in, he's going to kick it, going towards the box, and it's a great header away from North Florida, but South Carolina retains possession. They get it up to number 12, Sebastian Revenlow. Revenlow over to Lopez, who's going to kick it on goal. And Natoli didn't have an angle there. That was an awesome opportunity for South Carolina. They just kicked it wide of the net, wide right. I think that was
Ballack on that.
Yeah, Ethan Ballack with an opportunity there to once again kind of, cement himself as the man of the game, but just a bit wide. I mean, that was a great opportunity. I mean, there was nothing Natoli could have done. He was leaning all the way to the right. He's thanking his lucky stars for that one as he's going to get it over to Nick Koshchenko. And there's a foul going to be called on South Carolina for a little bit of a tripping as they tried to force a turnover from Koshchenko. It would have led to a great one-on-one opportunity for Ethan Ballack to try and make up for himself.
And on that shot, it's incredibly tough to take a ball out of the air. So Ballack went with the left-footed volley, which is very tough on the corner, and almost slotted it in the bottom right corner. So valiant effort.
Absolutely. So Alex Barnett and Koshchenko really kind of just passed it back and forth to each other a little bit there. They tried to play it up to Luke Granitor, but it's going to go out of bounds, and South Carolina's going to be throwing it in. It's going to be Jonah Begar. They're trying to survey what they want here. They'll play it to Ethan Ballack, who will get it over to Sebastian Revenlow, who gets it over to Goldsworthy. So Goldsworthy, and I think that's Mika Habel over there on the right wing. He gets it back to Begar. Begar's going to try and play it, but it's intercepted by Ethan Ash. Granitor back to Ash. He got past Alejandro Lopez. Ash bringing it into the box. Great opportunity here. Kick. What a play by South Carolina there. They had it into the box, but I think that was Goldsworthy kicking it away. Now they're going to try and go the length of the field. And coming away with it is South Carolina. It's number 23, Harrison Myring. Myring shoots, he scores! Myring with the goal. He got past North Florida's defenders, and he was able to just rifle it right past the outstretched arm of Luciano Natoli, and South Carolina leads 1-0 here in this game. To go from a great opportunity from North Florida, and then you turn it into just, hey, let's go deep. And the speed of South Carolina was on display there, Spencer.
Defense to offense in just a snap of your fingers right there. I mean, it was Camden Kowalski, I think, with the sliding effort just to get that away. Otherwise, I mean, you talk about a perfect opportunity for the Ospreys to jump out to an early lead. He makes a great play. Junior St. Just then launches just an absolute missile down the field. And Myring just won the header. It took a bad bounce for the Osprey defender. Myring used his, very tall frame and speed to just get right by him. Great finish.
He boxed him out perfectly. The positioning was outstanding. He just, out-muscled him and then got past, I think it was Nick Kischenko, who's been really the great backline player for North Florida in the early stages of this game. He got past him and then rifled it past Natoli. There's really nothing Natoli could do. It was one-on-one. It was going to be just a matter of can he guess which way they were going to go with it. But Myring just went with conventional wisdom, said, hey, I'm just going to kick it as hard as I can.
That's right. And, again, we talked about how dangerous the one-on-one opportunities are for either squad. That time, Natoli kind of left out to dry because, I think on that long pass, the Ospreys should have been a little more aggressive to try and take it out of the air and not let Myring have that much space. But, got to give credit to Harrison Myring, one of the other team captains, for his excellent play.
Absolutely. And then the throw-in on South Carolina's part will result in a foul called against the Gamecocks. That was a sliding tackle attempt by, I think it was either Ballack or Mika Habel, but possession's going to go to North Florida here with 27 minutes, 52 seconds to go in this first half. The Gamecocks lead 1-0. If you were just now tuning in, you just missed an outstanding play by South Carolina. And now we have a call going against North Florida, so the ball is going to go back to South Carolina, and it'll be a free kick for USC. I think that is Andrew Goldsworthy on the free kick. He'll just play it over to Jonah Begar. Gets it over to Nickerson. Nickerson gets past David Ash. And then he evades a sliding tackle from Granitor. And now a centering pass, no good. Couldn't thread the needle there. It found the leg of a North Florida Osprey. And now the Ospreys coming out with it. It's Granitor, plays it over to Ash. Ash, from the right wing, tried to just hammer it in there, set up an opportunity, but he couldn't quite find anybody. But North Florida's going to keep on having it. They have it on the far left flank. He's going to play it in, and a great header there from South Carolina to keep the ball away from Vestier. And now the Gamecocks coming away with it. Spencer, what a play.
Yeah, that time it was Goldsworthy. It's been him and Kowalski who've been excellent in the air so far for the Gamecocks at that back end. Really, keeping Vestier's job really simple back there. He hasn't had to do too much, and didn't have to do too much last week either, so got to credit this defense for really playing well.
Yeah, Vestier was outstanding against Winthrop, and, they didn't score late until the game was well out of hand, and, they got, several follow-up chances. There was really nothing Vestier could have done there, but now it's North Florida. Granitor has it about in the midfield of the attacking third for the Ospreys. He's going to play it all the way over to the right wing for Ethan Ash. Ash has it. And he's got in front of him two Gamecocks, so he'll play it back across, and Ash will receive it. They'll get it over to Kischenko. And now North Florida's just trying to settle down. They thought they kind of had something, and they weren't going to press it down. They'll curl it on over to Alex Barnett. No, that's not Alex Barnett, but they tried to thread it in there between two Gamecocks. Granitor has it. He plays it back. Vestier with the save. Oh, a dangerous opportunity there for North Florida.
The offside flag was up, just had to peek my head out the window and check. But so Acuna was offsides there. But again, promising attacking play from the Ospreys.
Absolutely. They're going to try and replicate that, of course, while being onside. But, after a game that started out with a lot of just, passing back and forth in the midfield area, nobody really, pressing too hard. We have a lot of action now as the Gamecocks are going to turn it over, and the Ospreys have it. Bringing it up into the attacking third, it's Granitor. Granitor tried to dribble it past Begar, and Begar broke it up, and they're going to call a foul on him.
Yeah, that's a horrible call. There's just no doubt about that. When you could hear the ball get kicked, that's why the fans are in uproar, because this gives North Florida an excellent opportunity from about 25 yards out. Free kick kind of directly on goal. This one could get a little scary, but as you can see, he clearly gets the ball. We actually have some replay today, because ESPN Plus is in the house, so
yeah,
not too happy about that one.
Yeah, it'll be a free kick for North Florida. Like you said, great positioning, and that's just, it's a tough call for a guy in Jonah Begar who didn't really make a huge impact against Winthrop, but he's been, we've said his name a lot early today. He's been the, kind of guy to go to for the throw-ins as, the coach for the Gamecocks. Both coaches not too pleased.
Yeah, and, can't blame Tony Annan, and sure he wish he could maybe get a replay on that one, but he sure won't be able to here, and again, big opportunity for the Ospreys to try and get this one level.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be Pedro Amancio. Yes, on the free kick. He'll kick it in, and Vestier with the save. They tried to just go right at Vestier, and he just scooped it up, and a great save there. Get the jitters out of the way. The other one didn't really count because he was offsides, but, here you go. You got one, and you got it out of your system, and now, the more saves a goalkeeper can attain, you start to settle in a lot more. But now the Gamecocks have it.
And they didn't really test him at all with that free kick. It was low and driven, but right at Vistier. It's not a bad approach, but you got to make him move a little bit. Otherwise, he's making that save 10 out of 10 times.
Absolutely, and now South Carolina's going to play it all the way up into the attacking third. They got it up to number 30, Gabe Nickerson, and he was able to escape away from Ethan Ash. He'll play it centering pass. Harrison Myring was charging and had the ball set up on a tee and just kind of shanked it.
Bit of a mishit, but what a play from Nickerson. I mean, did a great job. You see the physicality there against Ash, just bodied him. And then, after he hit the ball outside to give himself some space, first touch pass to the cutting end Myring, kind of like a trailer there in fast break basketball, if you will, but, just couldn't quite find it.
Yeah, he flipped his hips and was able to, put that ball right where you needed to be. And then Gamecocks are going to come away with it. It's Junior St. Just. He's going to play it back to South Carolina, but they'll just kick it right towards North Florida as we have some kind of midfield trench warfare going on. And they're going to just get it all the way back to Natoli. As he's going to survey his options, he's going to send it over to Alex Barnett. And, North Florida's just going to try and settle this thing down. I don't think they want to get into a sprinting match with the Gamecocks as they're going to play it all the way into the South Carolina attacking third. But it'll harmlessly drift all the way to Philip Vistier, and he's going to decide what he wants to do with it.
I think Winthrop found out the hard way that playing these kind of long passes against the South Carolina defense isn't super effective if they're on their A game, and they look like it because, frankly, I think they're just a little bit faster and a little bit stronger and taller than the Ospreys. So you're going to have to, I think, beat them with a lot of short passes and build-up play.
Absolutely, but now we see the Ospreys making a little bit of a strategic change. They're playing a lot more up on defense. They're kind of hounding passers. They're not letting South Carolina just sit back. And we'll see what they can do with that now. But that's going to be Alejandro Velasquez-Lopez with it. He'll send it back to Vistier. So, you got Vistier in his box. Then you have Jonah Begar, and I believe that is Andrew Goldsworthy. Velasquez-Lopez here on the left wing. They'll get it up to the midfield to Ethan Ballack. Ballack sends it over to Harrison Myring, and they'll send it all the way back towards Goldsworthy.
Revenlow and Hable are kind of those guys in the midfield that unlock a lot of other passes if you can get them the ball. They kind of split the defense, if you will.
Absolutely, and we'll see right here as Velasquez-Lopez hits it over to Ethan Ballack. Ballack has it. He's going to get it down into the left flank, but we have a whistle, and it'll be offside against the Gamecocks. So possession going back to North Florida here with 22 minutes to go in this first half. That's really kind of flown by, Spencer.
It sure has. It's been a lot of action, only with one goal so far. But, again, each team going back and forth. And it looks like we're going to take a little hydration break here.
Can't say I blame him here. With 21:57 to go, the clock will stop, and it's going to be a much-needed, I think, hydration break. Because both these teams have kind of got out and ran a lot. It's been a great first half. I think, even though you're losing, if you're North Florida, I think you feel pretty good. You've had some good chances. You've really only had the one big gaffe, and though it led to a goal, you've managed to kind of stymie some other chances for South Carolina.
Absolutely. They've shown that they're going to try and hang in this game, and really, I'm not saying that South Carolina expected to walk away with this one, but how they dismantled Winthrop on Thursday night, you got to think that they were looking really to continue that momentum. Not to say they haven't, but North Florida has done a great job of slowing the game down and at least keeping it to one goal because, a goal can happen just like that. That's how the Myring goal happened. It really was on a deep ball there from Junior St. Just a great individual play from Myring.
Has a boot. We saw it in the game against Winthrop. He really kind of was the guy who was just going to stand there about the midfield stripe and just launch it. But for a Gamecock team that had, I believe, 14 shots in the first half of last time out against Winthrop, just 2 shots in the game, and
they've had some opportunities, Myring.
And they haven't been able to get it on goal. But this is the type of game that North Florida wants to play. I mean, they themselves only have the one shot. They're looking for this kind of low-event atmosphere where they can kind of just pray that South Carolina makes that one crucial mistake. And, even though South Carolina really didn't make the mistake on it, the foul on Begar that led to the free kick, that's the kind of stuff that North Florida wants. They're just waiting for that one break to go their way, and then they can either, tie the game or later on take the lead. But for South Carolina, like you said, I think it was a little bit of a shock, in the early stages of the game where it was kind of like, okay, this team is a lot different than Winthrop, because Winthrop just, frankly, was outclassed.
Especially after the red card.
After the red card was the death kneel, I think.
Yeah. There's not much you can do as a team when you come into the game probably, outmatched. South Carolina, I think, was very easily projected to defeat Winthrop, but, after one of your central defenders goes down, then that takes someone else you got to put back there. It's one less attacker you have. It's really tough, but I tell you what, North Florida, again, playing admirably, if I could English. But South Carolina, of course, going to look to add to this lead. They've had the chances, but it's about conversion here, JP.
Yeah, coming out of this hydration break, the Gamecocks, were huddled up there, and Sebastian Revenlow was really kind of getting the team fired up there in the huddle. And so, he's a man who's really kind of, been an unsung hero in this game. We haven't said his name a lot, but he's made some great passes, has some great positioning. And then Spencer, as we're about to resume play here with 21 minutes, 57 seconds to go. If you weren't here earlier, the Gamecocks scored after a great chance by North Florida. They flipped the script and went down the length of the field. It was Harrison Meyering, 16 minutes into the ball game with a tremendous goal. But now we are getting back underway, and Natoli's going to play it out to guess who? Alex Barnett, as we get back to the North Florida passing extraordinaire. But South Carolina, very aggressive on defense. That hydration break was really big for them.
It sure was, and one thing in the Winthrop game, we're just talking about trends because we've only seen one game this season. Winthrop had a ton of possession. North Florida kind of emulating that here, even though South Carolina does have the lead.
Yeah, South Carolina, they dominate position in the attacking third, but everything else is definitely, the opposition with it, as Ethan Ash on the right wing is going to play it back up to number 22, and they're going to send it over to the left wing, and he's going to fire on goal, and it's deflected out in front, and the Gamecocks will come away with it, and that's going to be Gabe Nickerson just kind of punting it out. Kischenko, however, plays it back in, but it'll go out of bounds, and the Gamecocks will get possession. So they, you had a great opportunity, I think, for North Florida. They were kind of just passing it back and forth on the opposite side of the field, that kind of left wing area, and then they got it out to Nick Kischenko, and he played it up to Ethan Ash, and they just got out and ran.
He sure did. They was given a lot more space than I thought. I thought the Gamecocks would close out a little bit, but that was Rafa Rios with the shot. It was blocked by his own teammate. He put an absolute boot to it. I mean, he rifled that one in, and I think luckily for the Gamecocks, it was deflected down. Otherwise, Vistier might have had to make his first impressive save. Yeah,
it would have had to be a split-second decision because that one had some heat on it. But that header or that throw-in by South Carolina would find North Florida's kind of gaggle of players, but the Gamecocks are going to come away with it off of a great play by Alejandro Velazquez-Lopez. And now the Gamecocks Junior St. Juice is going to knock it on up. Gamecocks giving them back to Junior St. Juice, but it's picked off by North Florida. And they'll play it over to Granitor. They're at the center circle. Granitor carrying it into the attacking third. He'll get over to Ethan Ash on the right wing. Ethan Ash with a surveying. Jonah Pagar in front of him for Carolina. He'll play it over. A great play there by Revenlow. He'll come and knock it out. Possession will retain with the Ospreys, but Revenlow broke that up, and he was kind of frustrated he wasn't able to keep it in play. But that's the type of play that you love to see.
And really great job there from Ethan Ash and Pedro Armancio. Ash kind of cutting inside kind of from that right wing. Armancio then kind of with an overlapping run filled that space out to the right side, made for an easy through ball, and now it's the first corner of the game, I believe, for North Florida.
It is indeed, and I think that is Nick Kischenko taking it for the Ospreys. They're set up. They got a lot of guys in the box. Got David Ash and Alex Barnett in front. It's going to be sent in and just find nobody, and it'll go out behind the goal and over towards the women's soccer accolades here at Stone Stadium. But, that ball's drifting towards the ambulance.
I mean, yeah, that one just had a little bit too much on it. I think it was Armancio, actually, that took that corner. But, again, didn't find anyone. I was a little surprised North Florida didn't play it short, and that's, when you just kick it to the guy right in front of the corner flag, because they don't really have the aerial ability that South Carolina does, just being a little bit smaller.
Yeah, I think that was just maybe a little bit of a misplay there. As, North Florida's really kind of kicked it into gear defensively. Ethan Ash especially playing up in the Gamecocks. It's Ash cornering Lopez there.
What an escape from him.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great play. And he'll get it up to the Gamecocks, and they'll get it over to Junior St. Juice. Juice has it over there on the right flank. Juice playing it back now. He's going to set up, survey what he has. He'll get by somebody, and he'll play it over onto a centering pass, but for nobody in particular. And it's going to be a foul called on Gabe Nickerson. He was trying to box out, I believe that was David Ash, Ethan Ash, excuse me. David Ash was a quarterback for the Texas Longhorns back in, 2013. So
Only you would know that, but tell you what, that was a nice play there from the Gamecocks. Is Velasquez Lopez kind of escaping what looked to be a straitjacket there on this near side. Found Mika Habel in the great outlet pass there to Junior St. Just on the far side. Just couldn't quite connect with the cross, but again, great attempt.
And that's another instance of Junior St. Just really kind of showcasing that ability that we've seen. I mean, he obviously has the big leg and he can play defense very well, but he can get down and dirty and make some nice moves and get by people as well, dribbling with the ball. As North Florida has returned to the Barnett Natoli Kishchenko Fun Time show.
The two central defenders and the goalie just kicking it about.
They're just having a ball out there, for lack of a better term, I suppose. But that's going to be Natoli over to Kishchenko. And he'll get it to Ash. They'll play it back to Ash, but he'll go out of bounds and go to the Gamecocks. There's kind of I guess they were trying to do a little too much there. They, the kind of the give and go.
I think it would have worked, but Armancio put a little too much juice on the passes. We've seen Ethan Ash go with that 1-2 move and just really get upfield. Just a little too much on the pass that time, but I like the idea.
Absolutely. North Florida off of the throw-in is really kind of playing aggressively. Granitor and Ash both hounding Bagar, and we're going to have, I think, a foul call on.
So the referee played advantage. There was a foul on North Florida, I do believe, but they touched the ball too quickly, so it should be a free kick back for Jonah Bagar right at the spot here, right near the touchline at the midfield.
And he'll just, kick it into number 12, Sebastian Revenlow, and Revenlow has it. After the pass back, he'll get it over to Nickerson. Nickerson surveilling, and then he'll just send it all the way over to Goldsworthy. And the Gamecocks now kind of giving North Florida a taste of their own medicine. You have Goldsworthy and Bagar, and now we're getting back to Nickerson there on the left wing. And Ash with a great play off of his ankle, but he wasn't able to keep it in bounds. And South Carolina will retain possession on the throw-in by Bagar.
That was a crucial play because if Nickerson kind of kicks that to the left of him, he's got plenty of space to just sprint down that touchline.
Absolutely, and they would have, definitely had someone streaking towards the box for a nice, setting up the one-timer or something like that. But now back over all the way to Vistier, now Bagar and Goldsworthy, up to, I believe that's number 14, Camden Kowalski.
The defensive trio getting a little action,
Yeah, they're just having fun with it. As we have 15 minutes, 27 seconds to go here in the first half. 16 minutes into the game, you had a great play by Harrison Myring, and it's the Gamecocks' only goal scorer. The only goal scorer of this game is there's a great play up into the North Florida half of the field. They played it all the way to Velasquez Lopez, over to Nickerson, and then Revenlow, but now we're back to Goldsworthy and Bagar, but they're playing a lot closer up towards that center circle. Bagar surveying, he's going to get it over to Velasquez Lopez, and Lopez surveying, trying to set something up. You got two guys coming towards the box. He's going to try and play it over to Ethan Ballack, but it's a great header away from North Florida. And the Ospreys are going to come away with possession, but not without being hounded by the Gamecocks, which is something we've seen a lot of.
Yeah, that was a great ball there from Velasquez, or great idea, just a little bit more on that pass, and I think he had a man free running into the box, so really close. And the Gamecocks, we saw it last week when their defensive line works all the way up kind of to the midfield line. That's when you know that, they're really trying to score. They've got those guys back there, but, far enough up that they can get involved in the passing attack.
Yeah, and there's a turnover by North Florida in their own attacking third, but the Gamecocks will give it right back to them, and they're going to just settle things down as we hit under 15 minutes to go here. Coming up with it on the left wing is North Florida, and they tried a nice through pass that would have been highly dangerous if they were able to complete it, but they retained possession. And now North Florida coming away with it. They're going to play it back towards their defenders, who are now playing all the way up the center field line. But we have...
It's an injury, and Junior St. Just is holding his head over there. So
I think he might have got tripped up and maybe fell down and maybe took a cleat to the head or something. Didn't quite see what happened over there on that far flank in the South Carolina defending third.
But JP, 30 minutes into this game, what are you liking from the Gamecocks? What are you seeing from North Florida? Let's just evaluate the game, I guess, a little on the whole.
Well, for South Carolina, I'm loving the defense. They just really have not allowed, ever since we kind of talked about how North Florida was starting to kind of generate some stuff, they've just been absolutely smothering ever since. And for North Florida, what I really love as well is their defense, especially up at that midfield kind of area. They're not getting beat on some dribble moves. They're not letting guys just kind of get by them, and they've really shut down, I think, that big arcing punt attempt from South Carolina to try and get out and running as Junior St. Juice is up on his own power, just kind of walking around. Seems like he's going to stay in the game.
Absolutely. Maybe got an eye poke there or something, but
Maybe, yeah.
he's definitely
A contact issue,
Yeah.
perhaps. As South Carolina's reserves are over here at near the corner of the line, and they're just keeping themselves warm and ready as it's a hot day, and you never know when you're going to have to go in for somebody who's going through some cramps or something like that. And I think we're going to have maybe some little hydration, but we're going to get back underway as Ethan Ballack almost got caught getting some water. But now it's an opportunity for South Carolina. Bagar has it at the center circle, but they're just going to slow things down, get it back to Nickerson. Nickerson coming up the left line. He's going to kick it in. Oh, he tried to get it up to, I believe that is number 23, Harrison Myring, the owner of the one goal in this game, the difference. But it went out of bounds, but it'll stay with Carolina.
Good job from Myring. He's done that a couple times where he'll play it off the defender right before it goes out, and it's a good way to retain possession, and now they kind of get to set up in the attacking third.
Absolutely, as Nickerson's going to be the one throwing it in, and he's just kind of seeing what he got. He's going to play it in to Ballack, who will play it back to Nickerson. Nickerson gets it back to Bagar towards the the center line. As they're going to throw it all the way across the field towards number 14, Kowalski. And that was almost a crucial mistake, as North Florida's really hounding the Gamecocks on defense now, not allowing anything. And there's a great play to kind of keep that one from getting passed away.
And the one thing the Gamecocks, can look to do is if North Florida is coming up with such aggression, if you can actually complete the passes and beat the press pretty much, you can, you've got less defenders back. You can really get in behind. I think that's what they're going to try and do here. 12 minutes remaining here in the first half.
Absolutely. They just tried to get the throw into Junior St. Juice, but he kind of got ripped away. Now it's Ash on the right wing, but he'll play it back to who else but Kischenko and Barnett. But not without some, a little bit of harrowing from South Carolina, but they're also being a lot more passive here in the late stages of this first half. They're not playing nearly as up, and they're, just trying to keep everything in front of them as Ash has it on the right wing. He'll send that one over to Armancio, and Armancio is going to play it into the box, but there it's going to be headed away by Andrew Goldsworthy, and then it's going to be punted all the way the length of the field, and there's Myring coming on with it, trying to wrestle it away, but it'll be played by Barnett to Natoli, and Natoli over to Kischenko, and we start this whole thing over again.
And Myring, a good job making Barnett come and play a contested header there, as that's how he kind of scored the first goal, was just applying pressure and forcing a mistake.
Absolutely, and I think it would have been on the same guys. It would have been Barnett for a second time, but Barnett this time shut the door, and now but North Florida coming into the South Carolina attacking third with it, and they have it. Junior St. Juice trying to defend it, and he makes a great sliding tackle, and he comes away with the ball. He'll play it up the field as Myring couldn't quite get to it, and it'll go out of bounds and stay with North Florida, and they'll go with a quick throw-in. Natoli now playing it. Get it over to Kischenko as they're going to try and set something up, but we do have a sub coming in for the Gamecocks. That's going to be number 19, Martin Yahia, and also somebody for North Florida checking in, but that's not before we have the rest of this action to go through to the next break. The North Florida Ospreys with it in the South Carolina attacking third, but they just turned it over, got it back. A couple guys streaking towards the box. But Armancio is going to play it over to Ash, and Ash able to keep it in. And he'll set it up back to Kischenko, who, we've seen them work this right wing, right flank a lot. You got Kischenko right there, Ash, Barnett, and then everybody else from North Florida. They're really trying to work it to Ash here and just kind of let him set something up from that right wing. He hasn't quite been able to do it, but it's definitely something to look forward to if they can, find somebody, as it could lead to a high danger chance if you're the Ospreys.
It's been their most dangerous pieces of attacking have come from Ash, Granitor, and Kischenko setting up that little three-man.
Yeah, and there's Ash to Granitor. Granitor was looking to get it back to Ash, but he couldn't, and now Granitor is circling, and he's going to fire it on net, and Vistier is going to come out and just collect it. Not a huge, dangerous chance, but, great play by Vistier just to get to it. And now South Carolina's going to let everything kind of settle down. So we have two subs coming in from North Florida here soon.
I know one of them is David Perez, big number 99. He was a guy that led the team in shots on goal last week against Virginia Tech. The one guy I was surprised was left out of their starting lineup, He's a midfielder, but definitely had a solid week last week. But might get some opportunities here soon.
Yeah, absolutely. As the Gamecocks have possession, and Begar's going to play it up to Velasquez Lopez. And Sebastian Revenlow's going to try and get it down to Ballack, but he's just overshot him a little bit. Ballack there had good positioning as he's up there with Junior St. Just as well as Gabe Nickerson. And the Gamecocks now looking to press a little bit on defense. Kishchenko's going to get over to Ethan Ash. Ash to Armancio. Armancio's going to lob it over to the left side, but it's headed away by the Gamecocks. I think that was Kowalski. North Florida still with possession at the center circle, and they'll play it back to Barnett.
Sure was. North Florida, you know, both teams kind of going back at each other with attacks and then, you know, maybe a turnover. And we're seeing a lot of the same stuff, but no one able to break through here with under 10 to go.
Yeah, you know, it's been so long that the guys at the scorer's table are just keeping themselves warmed up over there. But, you know, get over to Kishchenko on the right wing. He's got Ethan Ash down there. Ash over to Granitor. Granitor looking now. And a great break up there by the Gamecocks, and coming away with it is Ethan Ballack. Ballack will play it over, but it's intercepted by Armancia. So there was a nice little back and forth there by the Gamecocks and the Ospreys in the North Florida attacking third, and now pressuring the Ospreys is South Carolina as time ticks away. We're sitting at about 8 minutes to go until halftime. As Kishchenko is going to take it now, kind of at center field, mid-right wing in the attacking third, plays it back to Barnett, who's at the center circle, who will swing it on over to number 21, Rafa Rios. Back to Armancio. Armancio has it. He's going to get it over to an Osprey, and over into the box now is number 23, Brian McManus Jr., who will play it up. And that's going to be sent on. They got a man, and it's Armancio, and he will whiff and send that one almost towards Williams-Brice.
Yeah, that was Acuna with the strike there, and, you know, he got a whole
6s and 9s.
Yeah, exactly. I was just making sure, but again, the header from the Gamecocks that time completely missed the ball, left Acuna wide open just on the strike. I mean, as you said, if there wasn't an extended fence there, it's going into the trees onto Hayward Street, so just not a good finish there. But again, North Florida showing a lot of promise.
Yeah, and now, you know, you got your subs going on. For the Gamecocks, you have Gabriel Atienza coming on. I think he will be replacing number 6, Mika Habel. And taking his seat is the goal scorer, Harrison Myring, so getting some much-deserved rest there, as we'll play the rest of this first half, under 7 minutes to go. If you're just now joining us, the goal scorer, Harrison Myring, who just subbed out, scored 16 minutes into this first half, and that is our only score, as it is 1-0 South Carolina. Not without, you know, some action either way, but now the Gamecocks with possession back in their own third. Vistier playing it over to Begar. Joining him now over there is still Goldsworthy.
Yeah, and for the Ospreys, the two subs they made, they brought on, again, David Perez, like we talked about, but they also brought on Jackson Reinhardt, the forward.
Absolutely. Now as Armancio comes away with it after a turnover, but the Gamecocks there with a sliding breakup of a pass, and coming out fast is Nickerson. Looking to make something happen. He'll try to play it over to Ballack, and he'll be able to collect it. It's Ballack and Junior St. Just over there on with Nick and the new sub for the Gamecocks there, as it's going to be a shot on goal, but it's going to go way above into the trees, almost hitting a patron there in the standing room only seats as this place is really filled out.
It sure does, but also there's some shade over there in the bushes. So
That's
smart
very true.
guys right over there. But Ballack, again, that shot, if he kept it low, it would have risen into the goal. Just put a little too much on it. Maybe didn't quite hit it the way he envisioned. But again, very promising stuff.
Absolutely. Now as North Florida will come away with it, they're going to, you know, the final 5.5 minutes of this first half, playing it back and forth. Natoli over to Kishchenko with Ethan Ash here. But some pressuring defense from the Gamecocks, specifically Martin Yahia for South Carolina. But North Florida's going to, you know, get it up towards the center field stripe. With we've hit 5 minutes to go in this first half. It's still just 1-0 South Carolina. North Florida trying to play it in. They do get in South Carolina zone with a little bit of a give-and-go action. I think that's Armancio, and he'll send it over to that left flank.
He's been really good tonight for the Ospreys.
Yeah, you know, and they'll send it on, and it's Granitor, but Vistier with the interception. He stepped up right in front of him. Oh, what a play by Vistier. His best save of the night, I think. He just had to, I mean, he literally.
Oh, had to get there.
I mean, that was like Brian Dawkins. He just came in and lurked it. and Granitor was going for the header, and that would have been, if he had tried to sit back and save it, off the shot or off the header by Granitor, it would have been a tough play, and so he just cut out the middleman and stopped it himself.
That's how key the decision-making factor is for goalkeepers. If he lets that one go, Granitor's putting one, right there. He's going to have to make an even harder decision to try and save it. But Granitor, he's 2 inches taller, and we might have a 1-1 ball game here.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a almost turnover. No, it will be a turnover in the South Carolina attacking third. That one's shot on, but left of the goal, and it'll hit that chain link fence. So, North Florida starting to generate some chances off the pressure. They're really starting to play up. You have that little, probably their best player so far in Ash, Kischenko, and Barnett playing up at the center field stripe, along with number 23, Brian McManus Jr., who we really haven't said a lot, but he's done a lot of great work over there on that left wing as the Ospreys going left to right, Gamecocks going right to left.
That was Rafa Rios on the shot. And, that shot from distance, again, it wasn't far from goal. But, JP, I don't know why he didn't try and work it in a little closer. You're asking, for a that's a really tough shot to beat Vestier with instead of trying to get a better look maybe with an extra pass.
Absolutely. As the Ospreys do turn it over in the South Carolina zone, and coming away with it is Nickerson. He's going to play it away from Armancio, and he's going to get up to Andrew Velasquez-Lopez. Lopez sprinting on with it, evading harassing defenders. He's surveying now at the top of the box. He'll play it over to Junior St. Just, and Just will now try and get past a man. He'll play it over. And the Gamecocks now looking with it. And they're now just going to sit back as they got about 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in this first half. It's Begar down to Revenlow. And Revenlow just kind of going around in circles as Goldsworthy will play it now at the center field circle. And Goldsworthy now just kind of looking. You got Nickerson there on the left wing.
And he's been fantastic tonight. Created a lot of chances down here.
Yep, and they just kind of shifted. And now, Nickerson closer to that midfield line. You got Ballack there. Ash coming up. So if Ballack can get behind the defenseman of Kischenko, and that's just what they tried to do, but Ash with a great play to break up the pass and keep it in play and destroy what South Carolina was just trying to do there. They got it set up really nicely as they had Ash pulled up to Nickerson, and it would have been Ballack trying to get behind Kischenko, but they just couldn't quite get it to Ballack. But Ballack now bringing it across that midfield stripe, but he's getting harassed from behind. He'll just play it in, and Barnett with a nice play to knock it down, and Kischenko coming away with it. We'll play it to Ash. Over to Armancio. But, a great play by Ballack as they'll take it away. Plays it up to Lopez. Lopez in the goal, and it's blocked and goes out of play, and it'll be a corner kick for the Gamecocks. So a flurry of action here in the final moments of this first half, Spencer.
Sure was. Ethan Ballack with heck of an interception there. If he doesn't make that tackle, I think the Ospreys are still running down this right side line as Ethan Ash was ready to take off. But an excellent job just getting that left foot in there and earning his team a corner.
Yes, and Alejandro Velasquez-Lopez will be taking the corner kick, I believe, for the Gamecocks as they're going to set up and they're going to try and get something done. They were good on corner kicks against Winthrop. And with now minute 15 to go, they'll send it in. They'll try for the header, but it's headed out by North Florida. But it's kept in by Nickerson. Sprinting on over is Revenlow to try and keep it in, and he does as they'll save it on the right wing. They'll go for a heading or tip there. It'll be played down. Nickerson now with it, trying to get it, and he's finally he finds the floor.
He's throwing himself at the ball. Gotta love it.
I mean, putting his body on the line, and Goldsworthy will escape. He'll
He just
dribble
ran
on
over
by.
somebody. Goodness.
Lopez trying to put it on goal for a heading attempt, but he'll shoot a little bit too hard. Ballack now with it at the box. He'll keep it in. Shot on goal, denied. And North Florida finally coming away with it, escaping what was South Carolina's maybe best sustained stay in that Osprey offensive third.
Yeah, and under 30 seconds, so, unless something happens, there's going to be no extra time.
Absolutely, yeah. And now coming up with it, they have Ethan Ash. So one last chance for the Ospreys to try and tie this thing up before we have halftime. Ash got it over to Granitor, but Granitor couldn't quite get past Begar. They'll get it over to Kischenko. 10 seconds remaining here in the first half. Armancio will kick it on. They have a man, but it's headed away. They tried to get it over to the big guy. Granitor, one last opportunity. He'll kick it, and it'll deflect out of play. And that will send us to half. However, I believe that's Gabe Nickerson is down. They had kind of an awkward.
He pulled up about 20 seconds earlier. That's why I was like this, because it looked like,
when
something's hurt for him.
When Granitor was trying to just make one last desperate chance, I think his foot might have connected with Nickerson as Nickerson tried to block it. But he seems to be up there as both teams will head to the locker room. Spencer, your thoughts on what started as kind of a slow game evolved into a little bit of a barn burner in terms of action and chances generated.
I would say it's definitely a bit of a slugfest here. We've seen a lot of good soccer from both sides, and that's not something I don't want to say we didn't expect, but not something if I thought it would be as competitive as it is right now. Because I tell you what, the Gamecocks look good, but so does North Florida. You got to give them a lot of credit for staying in this game, playing really competitive, aggressive soccer, and that's not often what you see from a team that's not necessarily favored in a little bit lower of a conference than the Sun Belt. But the Ospreys are here to play.
Absolutely, and you definitely see how they at least hung in all those games last year. They had the 4-0 decision against Virginia Tech, but a team that is able to play games as close as this, you definitely saw why, or at least you heard why, because you're looking at us. But we got about 14 minutes at halftime. We'll catch you guys coming out of the break, but it was a great first half, and we will be here when we get back trying to find a way to segue.
Hey, we'll be back. You can count on that.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back here as the seconds tick away at halftime for the second half of action between the North Florida Ospreys and the South Carolina Gamecocks. Spencer, the Gamecocks got off to a scoring start after a little bit of a dull start to the game, but they scored 16 minutes in off of a great pass from Junior St. Just, although he didn't technically get the assist on it, all the way the length of the field up to Myring, who hammered it home. Harrison Myring, who actually subbed out later in the game. But Spencer,
he's back now. Hey, don't even worry.
Your thoughts as this second half gets underway?
Well, I think really after the Myring goal, especially the last 20 minutes of the half, there was a ton of action. It's just not really reflected on the scoreboard. But I tell you what, this is a very evenly matched game. The same amount of shots on goal, almost the same amount of fouls, corners, and saves. This game is really neck and neck. South Carolina does hold the 1-0 lead right now. But I think if you're the Gamecocks, you want to tack on another goal, give yourself a little bit more safety here in the second half. But I think North Florida, they might be up for the task, and they're going to look to draw it level. I think this is shaping up to be an awesome second half.
Yeah, absolutely. And now the Gamecocks will be going left to right. The Ospreys are going to be going from right to left. And, you look at where each team had possession in that half. Possession was split 54-46 in Carolina's favor. But the game was spent a lot in the middle of the field, around the midfield, around the circle. And so South Carolina, I think, loves to play on either end, while North Florida is really trying to stick it to that, World War I trench warfare, like just two sides going at each other and stonewalling each other, and then they'll try and just, break something out. But it's interesting to see which school of thought prevails, as towards the end of the half, we saw a lot more action in the attacking thirds. And Spencer, we're about to get lucky here. Both teams taking fold. Still in the game, of course, for North Florida is their goalkeeper, Luciano Natoli, who I think had a great first half. The goal wasn't really on him, and otherwise he made some big-time plays.
It was a one-on-one opportunity. If he would have saved it, it would have been an amazing save. He didn't save it, but I don't think you can really fault him for that. It was a great finish from Myring. But I tell you what, I think you're right. I think he's been really solid. There's been a lot of great playmakers for this North Florida squad. It's going to be interesting to see if they rely on the same kind of cast of guys to build off their first half.
Absolutely, as Myring will start this second half off, kicking it back towards the Gamecocks. And, we're seeing a lot of North Florida's defense playing way up the field. I mean, that kind of line of guys, Barnett and Kishchenko, are up towards the center circle, and they're starting to hound the passers and the dribblers for South Carolina all the way back towards the box. And so a little bit of a shift there in terms of how they started the first half defensively, the Ospreys did. But the Gamecocks just playing keep away to a good level. People from North Florida, I think, to watch for in the second half, of course, you have guys like Ethan Ash, who got really active there in the right flanking role. He played really, really well. But Luke Granitor, he made some great plays, made a lot happen with every part of his body, I think, in that first half.
Yeah, and had the near goal, I would say, if it wasn't for a really good claim there from Philippe Vestier. But something to note, there has been a couple changes for South Carolina, kind of in that left-back role. Subbing out for Jonah Bagar is William Nielsen, now in kind of the back left defender, holding down that front as well. As number 21 has subbed in for the Gamecocks in the midfield, that's Kieran Karp.
Well, Bagar had a big role in that first half. He was the primary throw-in guy. He got a lot started, kind of when the Gamecocks were trying to set things up on offense. And so, he had, after not playing much, I feel like, against Winthrop, he made a good impact on the game. We might see him later. But, Winthrop here has wrestled possession away from the Gamecocks, and we are back to the glorious passing experience that North Florida can put on display. And someone else who played really well in the first half, I think, is Pedro Armancio for North Florida.
Absolutely right. We've seen him kind of be an engine for this offense, if you will. He gets the ball and unlocks a lot of the Gamecock defense with a good pass, and I think he's going to be key.
Absolutely. He gets it up to Renterio Miyakawa, and Miyakawa has gotten in. He's dribbling, and St. Just with a great defensive play there, and he'll come away with the ball. There you had Miyakawa, but he'll wrestle it away with the deflection, and that'll go out of bounds or out of play and stay with the Gamecocks. So there we got the first big chance, I think, for North Florida in this second half. That's the first time we've really said Rentaro Miyakawa's name this game, but got off to a hot start in the second half. We'll see if we see more of him the rest of the way. In terms of other guys for North Florida, of course, Ethan Ash, guys like Brian McManus Jr. and Rafa Rios, we'll see a lot more because they're closer to the press box. They were set up on that left flank in the first half.
When I think that's why we didn't see a lot of Miyakawa is because, he was on that left side, and really in that first half it was Ethan Ash and granted they're on the right side holding down everything.
With
so
Kishchenko as well.
Yes.
It's kind of like the initiator. Now is we'll finally get back underway after a brief pause. Riven Low will get it up to, I believe, Goldsworthy. As the Gamecocks will play. But, North Florida very active defensively. They'll try to play it all the way up. It's Meiring winning a race down. He got past Barnett. But Barnett was able to do a great, back check there, and it went out of play. And the possession will go towards North Florida. But a great play, I think, there by Harrison Meiring to attempt another great kind of breakaway opportunity.
And I believe he had Ethan Ballack cutting in there, so if he was able to get a pass off, would have been a one-on-one Ballack against Luciano Natoli. And I tell you what, with Ballack's, 2 goals and 1 assist he found last week against Winthrop, hard to bet against him, but great defense again from Barnett, able to force Meiring out of bounds and win the ball.
Yeah, Ballack, I know, is just itching to get a chance there after he had an opportunity in the first half that he just shot wide. But now North Florida's coming up with it, and they'll get it over to Ethan Ash on that right wing. Ash very active. He'll put it on, but it'll be headed away by Goldsworthy for South Carolina. Back to Ash as he's going to play it around. I think that's Rafa Rios over there. Excuse me. I think it's actually Brian McManus who is going to dribble up. And now Acuna fires on. I can't really get it. That was actually Granitor. Sorry, the numbers for North Florida are kind of hard to read from all the way over here. The gray doesn't really serve them well.
Especially, far side. It is quite difficult to
I had these glasses
people
for a reason. And now we get some physical play there on that far right wing. But coming away with it is Ethan Ash, who will get it to Armancio. Deflected out, though. Kishchenko has to come back and get it. Kishchenko, Barnett, and Rafa Rios is kind of back line for North Florida. Rios now with a move, and he'll pass it all the way over to number 23, Brian McManus Jr. Brian McManus Jr. has it on the left flank. Gets it back to Rios. Rios observing McManus now. Armancio, who will play it over. And it looked like, I'm not sure that was really intended.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that was supposed to go all the way to Ethan Ash, but it was cut off.
Anton Kelly kind of got in the way of that one and kind of blew up that whole structure that North Florida had going. Now they have to reset. Rios back with it, gets it over to McManus. McManus back to Rios. Rios is going to play it to Armancio. It kind of gets tied up there by some Gamecock defenders very well. Rios boxing out, tried to dribble it through, but St. Just is there, and he is harassing him, and he'll poke it out of bounds, and possession will go to South Carolina. So some great defensive plays there by South Carolina, playing off the miscue by Anton.
I think you're right, and the guy who was big in that was he subbed in for Velasquez Lopez here to start the second half. Kieran Karp, especially with those fresh legs, we saw him a lot. He was really pursuing that ball and kind of initiated that trap with St. Just.
Yeah, but, the Gamecocks give it right back there as Camden Kowalski threw it into St. Just. But a great play by number 23, Brian McManus Jr. from North Florida. Kind of boxed him out, forced it out of play, and possession back to the Ospreys. A dangerous pass there, I think, passing it back to your goalie when you had 2 Gamecocks pressed up there. Now it's going to be
well executed,
Kishchenko.
though. I mean, if it wasn't, that would have been a interception and kind of an open net.
And Natoli is just going to, try to flip the field, punt this one all the way down. Gamecocks will play it back to Vistier, who's going to swing it all the way over to number 14, Camden Kowalski, as Kowalski will try and send this one down to Ethan Ballack. He couldn't quite get to it, and it went out of play, and possession will head back to North Florida, who's going to try and throw it in quickly, and they'll get it over to Kishchenko. And so it really looks like they're still trying to work that right flank, right wing, Kishchenko, Ash, Granitor, and maybe some Armando or Pedro Armancio. But the Gamecocks now on defense playing, they're not as active, I feel like, in terms of the passing lanes, kind of just getting up on guys, trying to force the ball loose. But they're playing very kind of compact defense in the middle of the field.
Trying to keep things from getting behind them as it was, a lot of people creating space, especially from the wings. So.
Absolutely, as Rafa Rios has it now. He's going to play it down, and it'll be wrestled away by Carolina. St. Just trying to get to it, and he's going to get knocked down. It'll be called for a foul.
First foul in the second half. Whistle gets North Florida.
And so that'll give possession back to Carolina. I think the foul was called on number 23, Brian McManus Jr. off the takedown of Junior St. Just.
And a good call there. Juiced was definitely taken down from behind there. And, again, if North Florida wins that ball, that's a big chance. So I think the right call was made, and now South Carolina will just look to slow things down and try and build back up an attack.
Absolutely, and, had they been able to do it legally, that could have been big. And now the Gamecocks, they got someone streaking down that left line as Rivenlow's going to take it all the way in to the North Florida attacking third, but a turnover. He was kind of thinking a little bit too far ahead, as that was actually, in fact, number 21, Kieran Karp, who just subbed in. So he was kind of, maybe pressing, doing a little too much, and the turnover will give possession back to North Florida, and they're going to throw it in.
I think it was a great piece of defending as well from Kishenko, because if he didn't make that interception, I believe Karp had a guy out on that left wing and would have been a good chance.
Yeah, absolutely. And now North Florida, after the throw-in, getting it back to Kishenko, who gets it back to Luciano. And so we start the cycle again. Number 21, Rafa Rios. So we've seen a lot more of in this or in the second half. He tried to poop that one all the way down the field, but it went out of play, and possession will go back to the Gamecocks. So, kind of a sloppy start to the second half, Spencer. Lots of turnovers, lots of just back and forth.
A lot of long balls that really don't find their target so far.
Yeah. But South Carolina coming away with it now at the midfield. An attempt at a through pass there is blocked nicely by North Florida. I think that was number 21, Rafa Rios, or perhaps Ethan Ash out there. Now coming away with it is North Florida, and they're setting up here on this left wing now, as it'll be Brian McManus. McManus gets it over to Anton Kelly, who kind of imploded that original play. Kuschenko over to Ash. Ash now with it. He's going to play it down to Granitor. Granitor has it now skating towards the box, but a great play to break it up there by the Gamecocks. That was, I think, for South Carolina.
Looked like Atienza to me.
Yes,
Yeah.
who just subbed into the game. But now the Gamecocks coming away with it. They'll play it up. That's Ethan Ballack, who has it at the midfield stripe, and he'll get it over to the left wing. And they're bringing it all the way down. I'm going to break myself from saying skating. They've got it down into the corner. Centering pass on, and it's a goal! South Carolina scores off the header. Oh, what a play. That's number 12, Sebastian Revenlow, who had a great kind of hype-up speech late in that first half. He made some great plays towards the end of that period of play. And coming out of the second half here, a great feed off the centering pass all the way from that left corner. And Revenlow just came screaming in with the header, and Natoli couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, I believe that was Ballack on the assist. Just a great floated pass. And as we've talked about a little bit today, the Gamecocks have been really good in the air because they just have the height advantage. Revenlow just using his physicality there. Look at him. He's just attached to a defender. Natoli got a hand on it, but it was too powerful. It still found its way in the back of the net.
Yeah,
because nice play.
It really kind of looked like the pass was going to be more intended for someone kind of deeper into the box. Natoli was kind of playing it in the middle, and then Revenlow just came out of nowhere right at that upright and just headed it right on in. And, yeah, like you said, Natoli got a hand on it, but it was just hit so hard that he would have had to have been perfect, I think, to save that. But now the Gamecocks lead 2-0 here with 35 minutes and 18 seconds remaining in the second half. So now North Florida has found themselves a team that likes to play in a slow style, low event, or scoring just like one goal a game. Now they got to find 2 goals to even draw even. But the North Florida Ospreys trying to get it back, and they're going to play it up. And wow, what a great heading play to break up North Florida's possession there as they tried to play it. Gamecocks with it now. That's Atienza in the center circle. He'll get it on over to Kowalski. Kowalski back to Atienza. Atienza looking. Yes, Junior St. Just here on the right flank, and he'll get it to him, but it might be just a little bit too late, and it'll be broken up by the Ospreys, but Junior St. Just hounding him on defense. Ospreys coming out with it now, but Junior St. Just with a great takedown. And they're going to call a foul on that, I think, either on him or
Atienza, I think, called for the foul there. But
that's, for North Florida, number 3, Alfie Mattox.
Just coming onto the game, I believe.
Yeah, and,
I think, Not a bad foul for South Carolina. You don't
No,
get a card for it, and you kind of halt that attack.
I'm thinking of the nice way to put it. That seemed like a really good Oscar-worthy performance from Maddox.
Took a dive.
Something like that. It just didn't really seem like it necessitated that much writhing, I suppose. But the Ospreys coming away with it. And they're going to play it into the South Carolina end of the field. And now, they look kind of unsure of themselves in terms of where they want to set up. In the first half, it was really just methodical. Get it over to Kishchenko, who'll get it down to Ash, and he'll get it to Granitor or, Armancio. But now, North Florida trying to set something up here on this left flank, but Junior St. Just is just out there on defense playing really well. And then there's a sliding play by Atienza to break it up, and that'll set up a corner kick for North Florida. But, yeah, what a slide by Atienza.
Absolutely, because, again, if that cross gets in, you could be maybe someone's unmarked. It's a free header for them, and now it's a one-goal game again. So excellent job not allowing it, and you'll happily defend the corner instead of giving up something free and open. So.
Absolutely, and taking that corner kick is going to be Luke Granitor, who's had some really great passes so far in this game. So this is definitely dangerous, something South Carolina's going to have to play some really tight defense on. But Granitor's going to kick it in. It's going to go in, and we have a whistle. And,
it's going to be a foul on Acuna, I believe we're hearing. So it was him, a foul on Revenlow. So the corner kick, just like it didn't happen, goal kick Gamecocks.
Yep. So that comes, that's a real deflating, I think, outcome for North Florida. Even if you hadn't have connected on the corner kick, you may have been able to come away with possession right there at the goal line. But nothing doing, and now Vistier is going to come away with it.
And again, I'm a little surprised that North Florida is going for these aerial approaches to the corners because, again, they don't have the biggest of players, especially against the Gamecocks, who've proved superior in the air so far.
Absolutely not, but there's an outstanding play. The break of a pass by Maddox there in the South Carolina zone. It went out of play and went back to South Carolina, but, that is kind of the defensive intensity North Florida is going to need if they're going to get back into this game, as the throw-in is going to get actually deflected into the head of Junior St. Just off the foot of Rafa Rios. So that was an unexpected occurrence.
A little wake-up call. We're taking one off the forehead.
Junior St. Just's head just can't catch a break, whatever happened there in the first half in that far corner, and now he just got plunked in the head. But North Florida's going to maintain possession over to Rafa Rios, who's going to carry it into the South Carolina zone. He has Maddox down that left line, and Maddox is going to have, but Junior St. Just comes over and is playing just hounding defense, and he comes away with the ball. Over to Ballack, who gets it to Atienza, who's going to try and play it back to Juice, but then it deflected off the head of a North Florida player, and now it's just kicked right to the center circle for Kishchenko, and Kishchenko is going to try and get shifty with it.
Looks like Kowalski was also shaking off a stinger there as he kind of, boot to boot, and then you come up a little bit sore. But
absolutely, Bryce Griffith looking to check in for South Carolina there at the scorer's table. We'll see who he replaces. But for right now, North Florida has it down towards that goal line. And a great play, leaving it out for Maddox. Maddox centering pass, and a great kick save by Vistier. Wow, what a play by him. They just had it down there, and it was a sudden chance. And Vistier with a little bit of an unorthodox play, I think.
Yeah, opting to use the leg there, as that one had some pace on it. Would have been a little dangerous to maybe try and glove. But again, didn't let it through to maybe a guy running in back post. So I think a really, really smart job just to get it out of bounds. You'll defend another corner.
Absolutely, and it'll be Granitor again on the corner for the Ospreys.
And Griffiths, I believe, is coming in for Junior St. Just. He's had a very solid game, JP.
Yes, he has. He's just taken a little bit of a cranial damage as the game has gone on. So we'll see if we can recover from that before the Clemson game. But that corner kick kind of found nobody, but North Florida coming with possession. They'll play it into the box. There's going to be a centering pass. It's going to find a South Carolina leg, and it's going to be a shot on just wide of the net. Vistier made a play, and from this angle, you really couldn't have tell if it was going to be in or out, but it just leaked out that left upright. So a great play by North Florida, but an even better play, I think, by Vistier. I'm not sure if he got a piece of that or if it was just wide. Looking at the replay, it was just a little bit wide. But
yeah, and that was Tyler Probenda, who's recently subbed in the game, his first real chance. And again, it just hit the outside part of the net and ripped up it. So, it looked like he maybe snuck it in near post, but couldn't quite.
Yeah, absolutely. now as South Carolina's going to try and play it all the way down. And it'll be Ethan Ballack boxing out Kelly. And now a pass all the way down that's going to be intercepted by Rafa Rios over to Maddox, who's going to turn it over to number 7, Bryce Griffith, who just subbed into the game and is already getting active. And now Matt Tienza is going to come up to it for South Carolina and play it all the way over to that left wing. A nice little give and go there. He'll take it into the box. Centering pass finds Kishchenko's leg, who sends it back towards the midfield stripe. And South Carolina will play back on it. I think that is Andrew Goldsworthy, who's going to try and get it down, and then we're going to get a foul call on North Florida. A little kick of frustration from number 11, Luke Granitor, or that might actually be Rentara Miwakawa off the foul against, committed against Revenlow. So South Carolina now will have a free kick.
Yeah, and I like that little 1-2 between Karp and Habel on that far side. Karp just on the pass trying to catch a trailer, just didn't have enough.
Yeah, and that one's going to be sent all the way down, and it's just a little bit too much. But a centering pass is going to be deflected out, and we get a whistle. And someone's down for South Carolina. I think it's number 14, Camden Kowalski, who was coming over to try and head that one in from the opposite side, and Kowalski is just down. And
really hoping he's okay. The medical staff getting out there pretty quick, but
I think he might have just landed. Maybe got the wind knocked out of him when he landed from trying to head that one.
Or maybe head-on-head contact. You know, you see that sometimes with headers, so that could be why the medical staff was so quick to rush out there. But he is on his feet. Take a little swig of water. We'll, of course, keep you updated if he stays in the game. But, again, glad to see that he seems to be all right.
Yeah, walking off under his own power. He's making a motion like this towards his head, so I think he might have just, gotten some contact there on that play, either from, the fall or from an Osprey player. About 27:57 left in this game. Right now, North Florida actually holds the advantage in terms of shots. They just haven't really gotten them on target, Spencer.
Yeah, they really haven't, but when they have, Vistier has been excellent in goal, and, just that says a ton about him, but also the defense is, I think, again, they've played really well today. The Gamecocks have a 2-0 lead, so there's not a huge pressure to go out and get a third goal. But again, that would each goal you score gives you a little bit more comfort. So I'm sure they're looking for it. But again, just playing sound defense, sound soccer, really. Just don't turn the ball over, make good, clean passes. It wouldn't surprise me if, they get out of this with the win, just playing the way they have been.
Yeah, the one thing that has remained constant, I think, in this game is that it's just been physical. We got 13 combined fouls, 7 by the Ospreys, 6 by the Gamecocks, and it's led to, a lot of some 3 corner kicks for North Florida, 2 for South Carolina, a lot of throw-ins, a lot of free kicks. But now we'll get underway. I think Kowalski's going to sub back in. He's at the scorer's table.
I didn't know if they brought anyone else
it's not that
on for him.
Yeah, no, it'll.
There he goes.
And he'll so seemingly all good. North Florida has possession. It's Alex Barnett with it. He's got Kishchenko to his right. To his left, he has number 21, Rafa Rios. Rios has it now coming up this left side. He's got Maddox, but he'll play it up to number 6, Pedro Amancio. Back to Maddox. Maddox with a centering pass, but Vistier will able to corral it before he lost it for half a second. It bounced right back up to his hands. So a bit of a fortunate bounce there for the Gamecocks.
Well, if he lost that one, I wouldn't be surprised if they called a foul on Prebenda. You're not really allowed to go up and make contact with the goalie, and it looked like there might have been some on the ball, and you're not allowed to do that with your hands at least. So bit of a dangerous play from the Osprey midfielder, but no harm, no foul.
Yeah, absolutely not. And now the Gamecocks just kind of playing back and forth. Goldsworthy over to, I think it's Mika Habel. And you got Kowalski to the right of Goldsworthy on this little right lane. And now streaking on, I believe that is Ash for North Florida. I mean, he just looks like...
You see that bleach blonde hair? I mean,
was
he's
shot out
taking
of a
off.
cannon. I mean, can we get that 40 time?
He got sick of standing over there in the right midfield, just said, you know what? He's going to make a play.
Oh, you can't fault him for trying. And South Carolina has just really kind of started to take the air out of this one. But a great play there by Miwakawa. Just sent that one into the stands on a nice little block of an attempted pass by Kowalski, but it's going to lead to a throw-in for the Gamecocks.
Definitely, I think we're going to see the Ospreys become a lot more aggressive with their pressure, try and force a mistake and thus have the ball in their attacking third. But so far, Gamecocks have been pretty good with their passing. As I say that, Etienne just kind of kicks one out of bounds with an overhead pass attempt.
Yeah, it was a good thought, but it just immediately curled into the stands, and now coming away with it is North Florida, and Miwakawa is taken down. Excuse me, that's actually Joaquin Acuna.
Kowalski, big physical tackle on that one.
Yeah, it'll lead to a quick throw-in for North Florida, and they're going to play it back to Barnett. So they got Barnett, Kischenko, and then Ash, but Kischenko is pointing out something to the left side for North Florida. They'll play it back to Natoli, the goalkeeper, who's going to get it up to Kelly, who gets it over to Rios, back to Natoli. Natoli to Barnett, who's just outside the box for North Florida. They've been pushed all the way back into their zone by just a hounding South Carolina defense led by the goal scorer, Harrison Myring.
Him and Ethan Ballack are just everywhere right now. Just a two-man show of just trying to cut off one of these passes.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've gotten Natoli kind of into the corner, and Natoli's just going to try to clear it all the way up and out of play. So just, what a defensive stand by South Carolina. It started off with possession in the South Carolina attacking third, and they just got shoved all the way back into their own corner.
And then you can hear the fans really get fired up with that one. That's really just two guys just chasing the ball as best they can. One gets booted out of bounds, and, now they have the possession. That's just a great individual effort from Ballack and Myring.
Yeah, and that'll lead to a throw-in in the attacking third for South Carolina as Kowalski tried to get it down to Myring, but the header couldn't quite find anybody. Now North Florida kicking it around. But what a play there coming out. I think that is one of South Carolina's subs, and Ballack has it. He gets it over to Myring. Myring now with it. Gets it down into the corner to number 7, Bryce Griffith. Griffith with it now trying to get past Maddox. They got it in the corner. A little bit of a centering pass, and Natoli will collect it.
I think he tried to get a little more whip on that cross,
yeah,
but it just kind of fell a little flat. But it was good defense down in the corner.
Yes, Maddox was all over that, and Natoli was hugging the goalpost and was able to just kind of field that one before it developed into something. Now Alex Barnett for the Ospreys has it. Gets it over to Kischenko, who sends it to number 2, Tyler Prebenda. And now Rios has it, carrying it into the South Carolina zone, and they'll play it up for Joaquin Acuna, but before it'll drift out of play. And I believe possession will go to South Carolina. It'll be Kowalski on the throw-in. Kowalski surveying a little bit. Looking for his opportunity as they're going to get their little set play out. He's going to just launch it down the field. And it's off the head of Maddox for North Florida before it goes out of bounds. We'll have another one.
Gamecocks, I think, thought about playing that one, but it was going out of bounds. They move up a couple feet. You'll take that one.
Yeah, it's addition by subtraction. But now this Kowalski throw-in is all the way up. And we got a foul called on Atienza.
It was on Myring, actually. But, again, another foul on Alfie Maddox where, again, I think they're going to look into him for a bit of an acting career. He's got
really floppy hair, so any kind of movement makes it kind of look like he's been struck. But that's a play up to him in the box. But a great sliding tackle by the Gamecocks is going to knock that one out of play.
And Kowalski's, he's calling to be subbed off. He's pulling at that calf, and again, I think he
might have
tweaked it earlier, I do believe, and now he's definitely subbing to be calling to be subbed off. But after a great sliding tackle.
Yeah, and but I think on that sliding tackle, his cleat might have gotten caught a little bit in the grass. And,
yeah.
That's never fun. But yeah, we'll get a brief little pause here with 22 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the game. It's a 2-0 lead for South Carolina. And it's going to transition into an official water break.
Well, it's actually right at the halfway point. That's pretty convenient.
Yeah, so both teams are hitting their sidelines. Strong start to the second half for South Carolina. You're not getting the goal scoring that they got against Winthrop, but this is a North Florida team that's much more defensively, I think, capable. And it's a much different style of play than they faced with the Eagles on Thursday night. And it's good for South Carolina, I think, to get reps against such varied opponents.
I think you're absolutely right, and definitely much more of a test as it was on Thursday night as as much as you want to say about North Florida, they haven't gotten a red card yet. And as silly as that sounds, playing against a 10-man Winthrop squad is, definitely start just teeing off on them at one point. And that's certainly what it felt like the other night. So this is a much more even contest. The Gamecocks, I think, are being tested, but I tell you what, I think they're living up to it right now, and they'll look to maybe tack on another goal here towards the end of the second half as, 22 and a half minutes go by, or left to go by, and they've had some chances that they'll look to convert.
Absolutely. As Kowalski is up and walking under his own power with the trainers, he's going to hit the sidelines. So the Gamecocks are going to look to replace him. I think subbing in is going to be Nickerson, as well as Bigar for South Carolina. So Nickerson's going to come in for Ethan Ballack.
Yep. And Bigar for Kowalski, so two-man sub here.
Yeah, and, Ballack, good day so far. Not of course not the 5-point performance he had the other night against Winthrop.
But he snagged one.
Yeah,
nice little assist.
Assist for the second goal of the game. Really kind of the padding you need. But now the corner kick for North Florida is going to come in. It's going to be sent on, looking for a header in front, but it's Vistier who kind of took the initiative and knocked that one out of the air, and now South Carolina is going to come away with it. It'll be Kieran Karp playing it before it kind of rolls out of play. But somebody's down for South Carolina back where Vistier is usually camped out, and he's not getting up.
Looks like it's Goldsworthy is what we're hearing, but again, a great punch there from Vistier, but might be a cramp.
It's either that or, there were a lot of bodies out there when Vistier kind of launched himself like a Predator missile. He might have collided there, but, it's looking like a cramp right now. They're just trying to stretch it out. Hey, Columbia Heat ain't no joke, man. 3 p.m.
If it's it's hot up here, in the press box. And
we're not even doing
no
anything.
sun, exactly. We're just sitting here talking, and I'm, breaking a sweat. Hopefully the camera's not too close to pick that up, but I'm sure it's.
SUTD don't got that much money, Spencer.
Well, yeah, you might be onto something there, but
yeah, they'll look to get him stretched up and out of here. It's 22 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in this one. These cramps, they're never fun. It feels like you're dying out there, like you're just never able to walk again. And all you gotta do is put some pressure on it and drink some water and get that Pedialyte going.
I've heard some alternate remedies as well. You've got your mustard, right?
Mustard,
pickle juice. You've got some.
Those latter two, everyone would be like, dude, it's perfect. I'd be like, it's going to make me throw up. I just can't do it.
If it's not a peanut butter and jelly from the almighty Smucker's brand, I don't know if you're buying into that.
That's true. No, that's objective. Specifically strawberry jelly, That's what it's all about.
I know my friend JP pretty well, and if that was a cramp cure, it'd be.
Yes.
I
your bananas. Bananas are important, but Goldsworthy is up. He's walking, getting some pressure put on it with the trainers and Vistier, honorary athletic trainer.
Looks like he is going to be subbed out, however.
Yeah, those lower body cramps just are never fun. You just kind of hope it stops spreading because sometimes it'll feel like it's about to overtake your whole body. And subbing in for the Gamecocks is going to be number 22, Ted Cargill. From London, England, but a transfer from Boston College. So, a handful of ACC transfers litter this Gamecock roster. And so that'll be probably the end of the day for Goldsworthy.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. There's, again, just a little bit over 20 minutes left. The Gamecocks have made some, subs to fill out the back of this defense, but probably going to let him rest up for the big contest on Friday.
Absolutely. Now as we get the Barnett-Kischenko-Ash experience for the umpteenth time, he's going to get it up to Granitor, and Granitor is going to try and get by the Gamecocks. I think that's number 13, Jonah Bigar out there.
Great defense from him.
He's been great. He's done a great job, I think, face guarding guys today, not letting anybody get past him with dribbles. As Rios is going to move it over to big old 99 for North Florida.
That's David Perez.
Yeah, and now, North Florida's been pushed all the way back up to their midfield, and great defense here by Karp. And they'll drift it over to Natoli, who's come out of his hidey hole up to about, the middle of North Florida's side of the field. He gets over to Barnett, who gets it back over to Rios, as they'll try to do try a nice re-entry. Perez with a nice move. He'll get past Karp. Nice little through pass. Oh, tried for some fun there as the through pass to Miyakawa, as Miyakawa tried to deflect it. But a volley of headers has given South Carolina at least a little bit of breathing room. But Alex Barnett is going to come out. He's taken down. No call. They'll pass it up. It's Myring coming out with it. He's on the right flank. Myring coming in. Natoli hugging the goalpost. Myring looking. He's going to center a pass. It's deflected out in front. But South Carolina retains possession. They've got it in the box. He's skating around. He's running around with it. That's number 21 who just subbed into the game. And a deflection on a pass out in front. Just a great deflection there by North Florida. And Luke Granitor is going to come away with it. They're going to try for a deep pass to Amancio, but he's not going to be able to get to it. It's going to be Bagar for South Carolina. But a nice little sliding attempt there by Amancio. As North Florida's, they're feeling the pressure as time ticks away in this game. 20 minutes and 35 seconds left. They'll send it over to Perez here on the left flank, who's got Karp in front of him. And Perez is going to try and just outmaneuver the entire South Carolina defense. Bagar heads that one away, and it'll go for a corner for North Florida.
Yeah, great pass there from Perez. That one almost floated just over the head of the defense for Acuna. And they're actually going to call that offsides. As number 22, I was bound to say, you know, there's so much action, I didn't get a chance. But when he was chasing down Harrison Myring, Anton Khalil seemed to kind of pull up and get a cramp. So he is also going to be subbed off. So you can see the heat really showing its rear in its head here. It's going to be Jacob Harris on to replace him.
Yeah, he's just guzzling that water right now. I think everybody on both sidelines is. We are too up here. But yeah, it's been a tough little go of things as guys are starting to drop like flies. Someone coming out for South Carolina. It's going to be Goldsworthy.
Yeah,
Goldsworthy made his way around. They did some, I guess, testing over there on that far corner of the field.
Well, there's shade, so, I think he could lay down a little bit more comfortably and they could work on that cramp. So he's up and moving around pretty well. And tell you what, he's been played as the kind of central defender in each of the first two games, and I think he's done an excellent job back there at holding things down.
Yeah, he's been great at possessing the ball in South Carolina's own zone and making smart passes without giving the opponents too much of an opportunity. And so, with him out, North Florida's going to try and press up, I think, a little bit more. They've got their defense a lot up. That gives a lot of opportunity for South Carolina. You got Karp. You have, as well as Bryce Griffith up there for South Carolina on this right wing with opportunities, maybe if they can get behind the defense. And, in fact, it's going to be a play up for Karp, but Rios is going to win the race to it for North Florida. He'll come away with it, but Karp is right on him. Sent back towards the goal, Natoli, I don't think realized that Nickerson was coming on so fast. He had to play it away over to Kishchenko, and Kishchenko now with it.
As well as Cargill, as well as Mika Habel, this whole kind of front five unit is just really pressing up, trying to get that ball.
They're like marauders out there, man. It's they're a squad of demolitionists out there looking to blow up passing lanes and set up South Carolina for a great goal attempt. But they're going to play it up to Perez on this left flank. Perez with a nice little hop step there. He's going to dump it down into the box. And now they've kind of worked themselves into a corner. And Atienza is going to come out, or Vestier is going to come out and deflect that one up and out of play for a corner kick for North Florida.
And I tell you what, Vestier, he's been just rock solid in goal so far. That one, again, electing to use the legs, go for a bit of a kick save, and that's smart because, he's putting his entire body kind of shielding off that near post. And if Acuna was able to take that far post, I think you just got to let him have it.
Absolutely, as the corner kick is not going to find anyone, but Perez has it after it leaked out, and that shot went wide of the goal. And it will be another corner for North Florida with 18 minutes, 13 seconds to go. Time ticking away. North Florida really needing, you got to get at least 2 goals to tie. So they're going to start pressing. This corner kick is going to be really important. I think, at least you can get something out in front or retain position afterwards. Corner kick is coming in, and a great header there. I think it was by Atienza to knock that one away. And that one will go out and retain possession with the Ospreys.
But with a throw-in this time, so I think that's important. You don't give up another corner kick. It's a lot harder to produce something successful with the throw-in. But again, South Carolina have been really good in the air, and it looks like the Ospreys are setting up for a big long throw here.
Yeah, absolutely, as they're going to try and get it in. And Bagar came out to try and head that one away, but he didn't quite get enough on it. Rios has it now on the left wing for North Florida. That one's going to be shot on, but it's curling way right of the goal. And Vistier's going to collect it and tell everybody to just kind of settle down, go get set up. let's burn some clock here.
Actually, I like that ball a lot from Rios, trying a big curler towards the back post. But again, Vistier, he's just calm and collected back there.
He's a great presence that I think that this team is really going to enjoy over the course of the season. As that pass is going to be shot all the way towards the center circle on the side of North Florida. And it'll be down for Myring, who will play it back to number 22, Ted Cargill, who subbed in for Goldsworthy. And he'll get it up to number 12, Revenlow for South Carolina, who's moving on to Mika Abel. So some quick passes. He tried for Myring as he couldn't quite get it past Barnett, but Barnett kicked it up into the scoreboard and then took a bit of a tumble. That was, you see something new every day.
And it looks like he's going to be down. They're going to stop the clock and, of course, probably go check on him. Maybe
he's waving him off. He's like, hey, I just did a little bit of a somersault. It was just for fun.
I tell you what.
Now there he goes.
Oh. Well, I was going to say it was pretty smart from him because, he stops, lets his defense recover before they get
that's true.
As you can call it what you want, but it's pretty tactical from Barnett. But he might actually have a little cramp going. I think he was.
After the move he made that ended up with the ball hitting the bowling family scoreboard here at Stone Stadium.
Yeah, goodness. He rifled it off kind of dead center scoreboard.
I'm just glad the pixels survived up there.
Well, JP, while he's down getting some help, hey, let's turn to the fans back home. 16 and a half minutes left to play. What are you looking to see for the Gamecocks to close this out and get their second win of the season?
I mean, just keep this up. They've been very sound defensively. They haven't really allowed many chances here in this half, despite how much possession North Florida has had in the attacking third. And then maybe being a little bit more opportunistic in your own attacking third, going after maybe that third goal. But, you just don't want to concern yourself too much with running up the score or something like that. You just got to, hey, you're up by 2. Just, hey, win the next – or, draw close the next 16 minutes and 30 seconds, and then all eyes on Friday night for Clemson. You are very close to setting up one of the most anticipated games, I think, in recent memory for Gamecock men's soccer.
I think you're absolutely right. We've seen the attendance on Thursday, the second biggest crowd ever in the history of Stone Stadium, at least for the men's side, and then you've got another great crowd today on a Sunday afternoon where it's blistering hot. Next Friday night at 7 p.m., it's going to get a little bit darker in the second half. Fans are going to be able to stay a little bit cool. Rivalry match. Number one team in the country. I mean, it writes itself, and especially if this team is riding high, riding 2-0 into that game. I mean, JP, I think we're going to have an excellent match on our hands.
Yeah, and I think this team would absolutely deserve the hype and the support from everybody in the Columbia area or just Gamecock Nation in general if they were able to hang on for these next 16 and a half minutes and head into that one undefeated, undrawn. And we'll get a throw in here on the far side of the field. I think
they're waiting for Barnett to get off the field, and then he's taking his time walking off that cramp, but play will resume here in just a moment.
And Barnett was a big key piece of North Florida, especially in that first half when they would generate chances. Him and Kischenko back there in that back line. Just passing it back and forth and setting up some outlet opportunities. Now we'll get a couple of kicks back and forth as that one was rifled, but Big R with a nice play. But that's going to be shot up to Granitor. If he can get to it, now it'll drift out of the line, and possession will go to the Gamecocks.
Yeah, Bagar a bit dangerous there with that kind of took a little half volley there, and that touch, little errant, and luckily the pass was overhit by the Ospreys. Otherwise, we could see Granitor still running out there on that right wing, trying to get a pass into a striker, Acuna.
I think the most shocking thing in the second half is that Ethan Ash really just has not been able to get out and work out there.
And really, I feel like they haven't really tried to get his number out there. And really, that was the guy that was doing everything for them in the first half. At least from up here, I would say that he was their kind of biggest chance creator.
Absolutely. Him and Granitor looked really good out there. Someone else who we haven't said his name a lot in the second half, Pedro Amancio.
Not in the game anymore, and honestly, that surprises me. He was kind of their midfield engine as well as those guys on the right side doing everything for this squad.
As we see Perez spam the little move.
Yeah, if this was FIFA, he's doing that kind of ball drag,
And Ethan Ash is just going to kick that one right back to the Gamecocks. And that one's going to be a pass all the way up the field from Myring. Can he get to it? And he can. He tried to keep it in play. He just knocked it out of bounds to set up an opportunity for South Carolina here.
Maybe trying to either play it off
Yeah,
Koschenko
or-
or
and-
defend this.
and press it up
Yeah.
even further, give his defense an opportunity to set up deep in Osprey territory. As they tried for a quick throw in, but the ref just threw it right back.
It's because of the substitutions here. I was also wondering, I was like, hey, clock is still stopped. That is sure why.
And it's going to be number 9, Enar Ness, coming in, as well as number 16, Grant Mateer.
And you want to know something, JP?
Yes.
Both of these guys, first-time scorers a couple days ago against Winthrop. In 7 goals, outside of Ethan Ballack, 6 total scorers in that game for the Gamecocks. And I think you got to love that big team effort as they'll replace Mika Habel and Harrison Meyering. So some fresh legs, and it looks like these could be big keys to kind of keeping that press going, making it a lot harder for the Ospreys to build an attack.
I mean, South Carolina can just go deep, in terms of their athleticism here in Meyering. With a little bit of a back and forth with Coach Annan there as he subs out, but a great day for him. North Florida's going to come away with it. They're going to play it all the way over to Perez, and Perez, just a little bit of an awkward receive there, but he's gotten it up to Miwakawa, but he just kind of got tangled up, and coming away with it is Bryce Griffith for the Cox, and it'll be knocked out there in that corner.
For a goal kick, I believe. That's a great play from Griffiths.
Yeah, absolutely. Griffith, the man from East Cobb in Atlanta, Georgia, one of the few players that wasn't transferred here as he played for East Cobb High School.
Well, also, speaking of that Georgia connection, Tony Annan, the former coach at the Atlanta United Academy, worked in that kind of system. So a lot of players that played for him there followed him here to South Carolina, now in his 4th year, looking for his first winning record. And, JP, they're off to the right start, looking to go 2-0 after today's game.
Absolutely, as Sebastian Revenlow got taken down from behind by Joaquin Acuna, and it was a bad tie-up, and Revenlow is down and grabbing at his right knee, I believe.
I think he's holding his ankle or foot. A yellow card for Acuna. We've seen Revenlow get into some big challenges, and unfortunately, he's in some big pain, so hoping he's okay.
And he's a big emotional leader for this team, and that would just be such a brutal loss at this early onset of the year when you were building so much positive momentum.
A goal scored today in the 55th minute, had that big header to double the Gamecocks' lead, keep it at 2-0 now, and that's a killer.
Yeah, and, it's, Acuna's got his head down, and I don't think he feels very good about it either. And, of course, he's probably upset at the yellow card. But, that's just – I feel like that's a big turning point in this game. That yellow card is just going to be kind of like not that North Florida really kind of showed that they were coming back, but that might be the nail in the coffin. There's Revenlow.
He's giving the thumbs up, so
He's staying either in the game or he's just kind of trying
How
to
about
walk
this
it
guy,
off.
JP?
I mean, he's a dog.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, the heart on him, I'm sure is definitely at least a stinger, especially, when them spikes get into your legs.
I mean, it was just
one.
Complete collision from behind. I mean, you usually see that type of action in the Bull Street Garage. But
or more contact sports that involve pads, not just guys running into each other. So thankfully, Revenlow looks okay, staying in the game, and that's big for South Carolina, making sure he's okay. For a second there, it looked a lot worse than I think it actually is.
Yeah, and that's going to be a deep pass and a nice little heading attempt by Perez to keep that away. But Rios lost it, and the Gamecocks now coming away with it. It's the new guys. He's going to play it up. Gamecocks having it in that right box, playing it back and forth, centering pass on, and that'll get deflected. I can't tell if that was off of a Osprey or the official, but now it's back into Griffith in that corner. He's going to put it on, and it's going to be headed out towards the box. But, Nickerson coming away with it, playing it up to the rest of the Gamecocks, and now they're just going to try and keep pressing the advantage here as they're going to send it over to, I believe, Atienza. But now a little bit of that give and go, but it got tied up, and coming away with it is North Florida before it slipped and fell down, and now he's grabbing his calf or his hamstring. I didn't see any contact from
Well, they didn't call a foul.
No, yeah,
so,
no,
yeah,
I just think he just wiped out a little bit there.
And it could have been on the tackle because it was Einar Ness, I believe, on the tackle. It looked clean, but somehow Osprey players looks pretty.
And Acuna just kind of like great, kind of aggressive,
A little hot-headed out there, you know.
If I dump truck somebody like that, like I did to Revenlow and got called for it and was losing 2-0, I don't think I would be acting like this, especially when you haven't really done anything all day.
Hey,
But
let's not mention, he might be picking a fight with the guys that might be a little bit bigger and stronger. He looks a little tiny out there. I don't mean to
and
call him out, but I mean,
he's removing himself from the situation. Which is
thankfully,
probably best
because
for
again,
everybody
Einar-Ness just kind of had the ball at his feet. He came and just kind of kicked it away, and you don't really want to.
And then shoulder checked out.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, thankfully, Ness kind of.
Let's be grown-ups here.
Yeah, is that one?
What is this, gym class? I mean, come on. That was just kind of completely unnecessary, I feel like. But, as time will be stopped with 12:46 to go here in this second half. And getting up and moving is Granitor, but with a limp. So I think it might just be that cramp coming in for Granitor. For the Ospreys is number 20, Braden Masker. And that's probably going to do it for his days. He's going to jog off the field with a little bit of a hop. You hate to see a day in like that, but it was a great showing, I think, from Granitor, especially in the first half. Him, Ash, and Kishchenko, along with Barnett, as he's going to thank, I think, every single North Florida player on the field before he subs.
Hey, he's letting them get a breath. I respect that. But Granitor had an excellent day again. And trying to fire up his teammates. They've still got over 12 and a half minutes here left to do something, but haven't shown as much promise in the second as they have the first, JP.
All it takes is 2 kicks to tie the game.
That's
a little bit more than that, of course, but they'll do a little bit of a free kick there. It'll be Ash back to Natoli. And Natoli over to Ash again. I was going to, play it over for Tyler Prebenda. And Kishchenko's really getting pressured up there. They'll play it back to Natoli, but Natoli, with 2 Gamecocks in front of him, will play it over to Kishchenko there on the left side. He's got Rios on the flank.
And something to note, the Gamecocks have changed their formation a bit. They're rocking 4 at the back, at least for right now, when there's pressure on the wings. Both Griffith and on that left wing, and Nickerson kind of drop back into wing-back positions, and they'll get back and adds an extra defender to that back line.
Yeah, absolutely. We're starting to see the defensive, solidity,
prowess, maybe.
Yeah, the defensive, wall of South Carolina, as North Florida's just kind of like desperately pounding against it. They're turning it over. A great play was made by Grant Mateer, the freshman. And now, Kishchenko's just going to have to kick it all the way back to Natoli as coming in hot was number 9, Einar-Ness. Hounding the ball carrier right now is Kieran Karp. So it's a big youth movement on the field for South Carolina. And now North Florida's going to try and take advantage of that. But there's nothing doing there on that attempt through pass. And Acuna starting in on Vistier. And Vistier will just punt it all the way up in the air. A nice heading play by Ethan Ash, who will try to get it over to a teammate. But it's going to be Bryce Griffith who just completely takes control. And I think possession is going to go to South Carolina for a throw-in.
Sure will. Nice job from Griffiths there to ward off the pressure from the new man on, Braden Masker. But again, Ethan Ash, seems like every time he touches the ball, something goes at least a little bit more promising for the Ospreys. Again, very surprised, haven't seen him become more of a target here in the second.
Yeah, he's a 6th-year player from Castle Rock, Colorado. Just been a great player to watch. Very fun for this North Florida team. As now they have a chance here on that left. It's going to be Acuna coming in, firing, and just missing everything and going all the way into the corner.
Yeah, it was not the cross he intended. Kind of got a little, a good bit too under it as it almost went to the other corner flag without dropping. So no one able to get on the other end of it. But again, North Florida, it seems like every time they get an opportunity, something goes wrong or the Gamecocks have answered the call, and they just can't find the back of the net right now.
Yeah, absolutely, and Vistier's just going to kind of dribble it out. We got about 10 minutes left in this one before he launches it all the way downfield for Griffith, closing in. Splitting the 2 defenders there was Rios, and he's coming away with it. He's going to fire it on and way wide top right. That one was heading towards the Athletic Village parking garage if there wasn't a chain link fence there. But, hey, a great pass by Vistier, and then, Griffith winning that kind of battle and coming away with it for a chance.
Yeah, and again, I don't mind the shot there. I just, of course, I'm sure he's a little upset with himself. Just kind of mishit it, but also I think it's smart from the Gamecocks. You just launch the ball down, And then look at the pressure they're applying. You have to make North Florida basically start all over again.
Yeah, and I think they're going to call a foul on South Carolina for a slide tackle committed against number 21, Rafa Rios. I'm not really sure if I, completely buy that. It seems like there was kind of incidental contact, but Kischenko will move it over to Ash, and he'll just play it down.
Not on the same page with his winger there. Wanted him to cut up, but
yeah, he's
drawing plays with his hands.
He's throwing the hands up. He's like, hey, you got to go down there. And a goal out of nowhere for North Florida. And it's going to be number 16 for the Ospreys, Rentaro Miwakawa, a man who we were kind of expecting in this game to really kind of show up. Just comes out of nowhere and steals the ball and locks it in 81 minutes into this one. So with 9 minutes to go, we have a 2-1 ball game. That was one of the most sudden and unexpected goals I've ever seen. Miwakawa just taking advantage. And I think South Carolina just kind of took the foot off the gas pedal, thinking this game was over. And hey, ain't over till it's over.
Hey, that goal got away from us too.
It did. We were checking our notes and stuff, and wow. Now South Carolina is just trying to lock it down. They had a little bit of a chance at a breakaway. That one's going to be lost out of play, and it'll be a throw-in for the Gamecocks. It'll be Atienza taking it.
Now, I know, JP, here's where in college soccer you've got a bit of a different approach, or not a different approach, but since it's a different game where the clock counts down, time wasting becomes ever so great for the Gamecocks. They're going to drop the ball, walk over to the throw-in. If someone gets a cramp, they're going to do everything they can to kill a couple
like their
seconds.
leg is rotting.
That's right, because there's no extra time. So that if the clock stays moving, it's the Gamecocks' best friend in this 2-1 game.
Absolutely, and Atienza will play it back to Vistier, but Joaquin Acuna was coming in hot, looking for a play, and Ethan Ash off a header almost got it back, and it's going to be offsides on South Carolina, so possession will go back to the Ospreys. The Ospreys, with under 8 minutes to go, Kischenko, Ash, Rios, what are they going to be able to do here? Looking for the equalizer. Rios is going to play it down from the goal scorer, Miwakawa, who's going to send it up the flank, and then a great sliding tackle by Atienza is going to send the ball out. It's going to be a quick throw-in. Miwakawa is going to try and get something quick.
And JP, I just saw a replay of the goal, and I know now why we didn't quite catch it. Jonah Bagar had possession, and it was an errant pass. Miwakawa, smartly intercepted and just rifled it bottom left corner.
Yeah, now Miwakawa has it in the box. He's skating past the defenders. Oh, he's got a little too fancy with it and turned it over to Bryce Griffith. And now North Florida trying to win back possession. That one's sent all the way out of bounds, and possession will go back to the Ospreys with about 7 minutes to go. Kischenko coming down to get the ball as they have to hurry. No time can be allowed to be wasted for this team.
Yeah, 6:50 left now. Again, desperately looking for this goal. And JP, this game got a lot more real,
yes,
and just the snap
the
of
house
your
call,
fingers.
The house call for Miwakawa as Ash is going to play it over, and he'll get it to Kischenko. A little bit of a shift up in the strategy, I think, for North Florida. They got Ash back on that back line, and now North Florida's coming in. They've got it at the top of the box. They're going to play it back towards the goal line. Hard to see numbers through the chain link fence here. That's going to be Rios playing it on, and it's going to be deflected out in front, and that's going to go out of play unless Kischenko can save it. And they're going to do a quick throw in. Natoli has it now. 6:15 to go. Gets it over to Ash. South Carolina now, they're playing up, but they're not, hounding the passing lanes like they were when they were up by 2 goals. Rios gets it back to Kischenko. And this is, the guys that North Florida lost due to injury. It's brutal to not have them. Griffith with a nice stoppage there. They're going to play it out in front, and it's going to be a goal! North Florida has tied the game! Oh, a brutal breakdown. Vistier couldn't quite make out where the ball was on the heading attempt, and it just got right by him. Oh, what a play. It might have deflected off of a Gamecock. It is tied with 5:52 to go. An apocalyptic collapse by South Carolina in these final minutes.
And I think it was an own goal. I'm almost positive. That looked like a cross.
There was a mass of bodies. It was a great pass. I couldn't tell quite who passed it into that area for North Florida, but they got it up there. It was all just in the box. It was a mass of bodies. Everyone flying towards the ball. Somehow it ended up in the back of the net. Vistier looked stunned.
And I tell you what, immediately, you know, this Gamecock bench reawakens. Martin Shia now into the game. Alejandro Vasquez Lopez back in the game. They're putting back in their guys to try and win this game when 5 minutes ago it was won.
You know, and they'll get it down to Bryce Griffith. Bryce Griffith has it down near the right goal box. He's got a centering pass, and there is nobody home. And, you know, that was, hey, that almost looked like out of a storybook for Bryce Griffith, but he just couldn't quite get it to anybody. And that one's going to be kicked out of play by number 21 for the Gamecocks, Kieran Karp. I'm surprised we didn't see Alejandro Velasquez Lopez until just now, even though it was such a one game, and now possession is going to go.
And especially after the first goal, you know, you want to think you've got your guys back in, or you make defensive substitutions. You want to get the best possible defense crew in, but, of course, some cramps have brought out Goldsworthy and Kowalski, you know, 2 of your starting defenders. And
the defense has really, I mean, North Florida has camped out in the attacking third, not even how they usually like to play it. And now North Florida has possession with a chance to win this thing.
And, you know,
that one's going to go off of an ankle, and it's going to be deflected out, and possession will go to Carolina. So 4:48 to go here. As, you know, who's going to time waste now? Is North Florida going to try and just get out of this one with a tie?
That's what I was about to say. I respect the Ospreys so much. Their defensive line is at midfield. They're looking to win this game, JP, or at least they were. Every attack, I totally agree with you. Nobody's happy with a draw, even the team that maybe isn't favored to win.
Yeah, and Perez is hounding Bagar, as Bagar's going to get it up to Lopez, but he's going to turn it over. Coming away with his Rios. He's going to play it up. It's Acuna and Fistier with a diving play, and he breaks it up, and he is
He was offsides, but goodness, I tell you what. I mean, about gave a heart attack to
every Gamecock fan still here. I mean, most people thought this game was won. You know, this one's going to be launched way deep. Ethan Ash coming out for it, but Natoli is going to collect it. I mean, yeah, you know, there was definitely an argument for offsides there. I didn't see the flag go up, so that was about as real a chance as North Florida might get to win this one. Joaquin Acuna, I mean, talk about an announcer's jinx. We were dogging on him earlier.
Well, the flag did go up, just to make sure. Okay. So it wouldn't have counted no matter what. You know, the play goes through, but.
And here we go, a turnover. Alejandro Velasquez Lopez is going to get it. It's going to be deflected by Ethan Ash, I think. Either that or an errant pass from Lopez. That was almost an outstanding opportunity for South Carolina as they had a turnover in the North Florida attacking third, and they're going to quickly get it in. It's going to be sent in, looking for a header attempt, and just nothing doing there. It was Martin Yahia on it, and possession will go back to North Florida with 3:15 to go. As the time is just ticking away here, Spencer. I mean, it's a nervous atmosphere, even on good, you know, scoring attempts for South Carolina. What a turn of events here in Columbia. That one's going to be kicked way out of bounds. The possession will go back to South Carolina. Almost a brutal mistake for North Florida. That was Rios.
And very smartly, you know, the Gamecocks bringing up everybody, really, but two guys, and Big R and Nielsen, I believe, kind of on the center half line, but everyone else is going to come to join this attack. They're looking for the win.
Yeah, and Atienza throws it in. They tried to box it out, and it just gets punted out of play by an Osprey. So the throw-in will come in towards the corner. It'll be Atienza again.
And something to note, the ball boys play a huge factor here. You know, you got to, if North Florida's going to punt it into the stands, you got to get that back as quick as you can, because we talked about it kind of hurting North Florida. Now it's hurting the Gamecock. The clock is no longer your friend.
No, and Nickerson's going to try for a long throw and looking for that header opportunity. They got it out in front. It's Atienza, and he misses it wide left. Atienza kind of had that one, and he just
sliced under it and sent it out to the ambulance. Just not what he was looking for, but the Gamecocks, you know, we've seen them really pressure the North Florida defense the last couple minutes. Got to think they're going to turn that up as high as it can go, because it's under 2 now.
Yeah, absolutely. Time ticks away. Natoli with it now. Gamecock defense playing way up, trying to force a turnover and get a good chance. It's Kishchenko with it. Rios, you got Ethan Ash, you know, Alex Barnett out of the game, so a key defender missing for North Florida in case of a turnover, as Ethan Ash is having to play that kind of backline role. And he'll just kick it up. He's trying to get it to Perez, and Perez can't keep it in play. Possession will go back to South Carolina with 1:27 to go.
But they killed 30 seconds. I think, you know, the Ospreys are okay with that, not giving the Gamecocks a chance.
They did, but South Carolina's coming away with it now after the quick throw-in. This is, I mean, you're missing Junior St. Jude's, you're missing Ethan Ballack, but this is a great opportunity. He got out in front, but Kishchenko cuts it off. And the takedown, and they'll call the foul.
Absolutely, JP. You know, Kishchenko, Honestly, he probably won't be too mad, but Shaia went down hard there.
Martin Shaia, had a great opportunity, but Kishinka just cut him off and took him down. And
Now you got to go. You're under
gotta
a
hurry up.
minute here.
Under a minute to go, 55 seconds. 50, it's ticking away. The ref is taking his sweet time, getting everything set up. Everybody, lots of urgency from this Carolina sideline. And this is really maybe your last chance to win this game. And what a bittersweet feeling it would be if this ends in a draw. But now they're setting it up. It's Alejandro Velasquez-Lopez out there, along with, I think, Yashia. Everybody is set up, I think, looking for the header out in front. It's going to be Lopez. He's going to put it on, and Kishinko is going to send this one high into the sky.
And it looked like there was a plea for handball there. It looked like that bounced right off a North Florida hand. That would have been a free kick and an excellent opportunity.
Yeah, no, 14 seconds to go. South Carolina, they desperately need something. 10 seconds left. They're running out of chances to win this game. Vistier is going to send it down. This is the last opportunity for South Carolina. Header into the box. North Florida's going to kick it away, and that will do it for St. Juice just says it all for us, I think, folks. What is there to say? A brutal, brutal turn of events. Revenlow on the ground. Gamecocks just in shambles. I think that's Bagar down there. Jerseys over the heads. You're leading 2-0 with just a few minutes to go, and it flips like that.
It's a colossal collapse, JP. That was...
Yeah, you were, 80 minutes into the game with a 2-0 lead, and who could have predicted this? But, hey, all the credit in the world, I think, goes to North Florida.
Absolutely.
They just kept fighting. Injuries, yellow cards, time stoppage. The clock was not their friend at all. They were up against it. They just kept fighting. They coming off of a 4-0 loss against Virginia Tech on the road. Now they're on the road against South Carolina, going from Blacksburg to Columbia in just a couple days. And, they had the opportunity, and they seized it.
Yeah, your second and last Power 4 opportunity of the year. You lose one badly to Virginia Tech, as you mentioned. What a way to bounce back. You draw against a South Carolina team that seemed to be punching well above what they were predicted to do. And now, for South Carolina, it's a killer. It's an absolute killer because you really had a chance to walk away out of this game 2-0, going into, as the huge rivalry matches. We've talked about it. And that is not the way you want to enter next Friday.
No, and, a fly on the wall in the Gamecock locker room would probably get incinerated.
And I don't think we'd be allowed to put a microphone in there. We might get shut off YouTube. And
the
honestly, JP, rightfully so. This team,
Yeah.
you got to win this game. You're up 2-0, 80 minutes in. You've dominated pretty much all 80. You get caught lacking twice in the last 10 minutes, and you're unable to save it. And
you're a team,
it's hard.
You're a team that's, you've struggled for years, and you just can't afford to take off any time. You have 10 minutes. This is kind of, I guess, an impromptu post-game show as we just kind of rant up here. Not rant, but, what a brutal go of things for Carolina. We're just as guilty as they are of it. We were.
You're very right.
We were up here talking about, hey, what a game this will be Friday for, South Carolina. We were so sure of the victory here,
and it felt so sure. You know what I mean?
They were dominating the style of play.
I think that's soccer for you, and it just immediately on the turn of a dime, Gamecocks end up not losing, but losing.
It feels like losing.
Exactly.
Hey,
they lost their
first, you're
chance.
last.
They lost their chance at a win. They end up drawing with North Florida, and I think, really, if you're an Osprey fan, this is a great scenario for them. They played their hearts out.
We
really.
saw a couple coming into the stadium today,
Yeah.
so I'm sure they are thrilled with the fight their team showed. They're still on the field going in. Well, the alma mater for Carolina plays, and just hey, players of the game for Carolina. I think you got to go with Revan Lowe was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
The extender to put him up 2-0 after how good he played all game long. But just player of the game, I think, does it go to Miyakawa?
He made the big play. That I don't think he was their best player all game long, but he had the biggest moment easily for North Florida.
They were drifting kind of out of contention of the game itself. They were kind of waning. South Carolina thought the game was over, evidently, and he seized advantage. They're still on the field.
Well, some of them are running sprints out there. I respect it. That's a well-conditioned team, and God only knows how hot it is now here in Columbia, but a big shout out to them. I mean, a huge performance. 2-2 draw.
Their first year, under Davies starts off with, a great play. And, next time out, I believe the Gamecocks are traveling before the Clemson game, unless the scoreboard is lying.
No. This is for the women's soccer game. There's two games
so
on
true.
Stone Stadium today. The Gamecocks actually, have a good 4 or 5 days off before next Friday's matchup against number 1 ranked Clemson. And JP, I know one thing: we'll be back here next Friday.
Yes, we will.
That
Hey,
is for sure.
Two things are for certain: the Gamecocks are going to be here no matter what, no matter how many sprints they end up running after this, and we will be here.
Absolutely.
So, I think that kind of does it here from Stone Stadium. A stunning 2-2 draw by the North Florida Ospreys after South Carolina led for the first million minutes. But for Student Gamecock Television, I'm JP Barry. He's Spencer Ball. Thanks for hanging out with us today.